Lights, Camera, Barstool, episode 83 of season 2. Jeff D-Low, Ken Jack, Chris, Gooch coming at you. We are the cocaine episode. It's the long-awaited cocaine episode.
I've been waiting for this one for a while.
We'll be doing our top 5 favorite moments taking coke. Cocaine Bear. And also, we have our longest interview ever today.
That's right.
Freddie Prinze Jr. He gave us, we're told this every now and then, like, hey, you can go as long as you want. I feel bad because in the end, do they really want to talk to us for that long? But Freddie Prinze Jr., we went a full hour and 15 minutes with him. It's crazy.
Great conversation too. Every time I thought I knew where he was going, he went in a different direction. He was impossible to predict, that dude.
I'll be honest, I had not kept up with Freddie Prinze Jr.'s career. I had no clue he was like writing for the WWE. I've never heard him in an interview outside of the Talking Dog clip.
Did you ask him about that?
No, we should have. I think that was like the last on the pecking order.
We went a lot on Scooby-Doo. He went for a while on Scooby-Doo. He talked about like equal pay a bunch too. It was very interesting. We never had an actor really talk about pay and what they make, and it was that kind of fascinating to hear. He talked about almost dying on the set of I Know What You Did Last Summer. He talked about Star Wars in a very like fun but passive aggressive
and Warner
way.
Brothers.
How he had to be begged to be on Rise
the
of Skywalker.
amazing bonus that he got from Warner Brothers for Scooby-Doo, which is hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah, we gotta save that. I gotta save that though. That was the funniest thing ever. After Scooby-Doo shattered box office numbers, the bonus that WB gave him is hilarious.
Did they not pay the dog?
The dog? I think they wanted the voice actor to get equal pay, if I remember right.
Voice actor.
Hold on a second. Wait, are you saying
they didn't dress a Great Dane up like a grandma and put it on a flight?
we should reference off the top. Gooch and Chris had a classic moment of eating the trash with your Reegs tweet.
Oh
yeah, Chris, you did eat the trash on that one.
Sometimes it's hard to tell without the inflection of sarcasm. It's hard to tell.
It's funny because what was your next tweet, Gooch? Because I saw that after I sent my reply, and I was like, God damn it.
I said, like, is there a gambling guy at Barstool? Like, I'd love to be the gambling guy who misses on 70% of his picks. We don't have any of those.
Is there any New Orleans guys here?
I had a guy lean over to me the other morning while I was in line for, speaking of just gambling stuff, while I was in line for breakfast tacos, and he just leans into me, and he wasn't like I know he was not a Barstool fan, like he didn't recognize me. He just was, I think he was trying to chat. He goes, "So you're watching the Jake Paul fight?" I'm like, "What?" It's like, I was like, I don't know.
That's a hell of an icebreaker.
I was like, okay, enjoy your tacos, sir.
You betting on Jake Paul or
the Jake Paul fight? I don't know. Okay. Like it wasn't like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's very strange.
All right, let's talk about Game Time. Game Time is the exclusive ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. Created by fans for fans, Game Time is the ticketing app that makes it easier than ever to score last-minute tickets on deals to sports, concerts, and shows. And they guarantee the lowest price. If you haven't given Game Time a shot yet, I have no idea what you're waiting for because you guys are going to love this app. We had a bunch of Barstool fans using it. They hit us up on social all the time about the great deals they're getting, and I've been using it all year. Again, you guys heard me say it 1,000 times. Use them to go see Bannock at the Disco. Use them to see a Yankee game, and I think I have not Lizzo tickets. I have another group of tickets lined up. I'm going to a Ranger game in early January that I also got with them as well. So it's really easy to use. They have amazing deals, and it is the fastest growing ticketing app in the U.S. Again, you guys are going to love it. Download the Game Time app, go to the account tab to create a login, and redeem code LCB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Download Game Time. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
What else is happening here? Some news to get to. SAG Awards happen on Sunday night. Mandalorian debuts this week. I rewatched a bunch of The Mandalorian on the flight. Man, what a fucking great show. The Bill Burr episode from season 2, I think, is my favorite episode of The Mandalorian. Like, it is it just kind of gives you everything that I think, no matter who, like, I think if you were to pull like Star Wars fans together and be like, all right, what do you really want from Star Wars? I feel like that episode gave you everything, gave you like real drama and like solid writing and like cool, but then also like just badass Star Wars action. They dropped the sonic boom or whatever, the shockwave from Boba Fett's ship. You have kind of like Bill Burr shooting the ISB officer, the chase scene. It's just such an awesome episode. I'm so fucking excited
Bill
for this season,
Burr
Mandalorian.
was one of those things
Like,
that
true.
makes no sense and yet a ton of sense for the Star Wars universe. I feel like he fits in so well there, and I never expected that he would. But yeah, that's a great episode.
He's in 2 of like the 3 best episodes. Like the prison episode, not the prison, but whatever you want to call it, where it's like the ship that's broken down and like the red lights and all that shit. I love that episode too. That one was so tense and awesome.
Which I think both were directed by Rick Famuyiwa, right?
I know the season 2 one.
I think both were.
I don't remember.
Yeah, The Prisoner was directed by Rick Famuyiwa. He also directed the first episode with Baby Yoda, and then he directed the season 2 one. And I believe he's directing, I think, the first and last episode of. Oh, it might be Peyton Reed. I don't know. He's directing this new season. He is directing it like 1 or 2 episodes again this season. Also, did you see the Pedro Pascal clip? Is that an old clip of him saying Baby Yoda?
I don't know. I didn't see it.
Have you seen it? Okay, wait, hold on. Am I able to share my screen, Gooch? Because I'll play the audio.
Yeah,
for
go
the
ahead.
pod too.
You can kind of see the life is starting to go out of that man's eyes because they just will not stop asking him about like the internet, calling him daddy, and like you can just see like he's just like smiling through the pain now. Like he's like, can we just move on from this bit? Like,
But Baby Yoda is there.
Yes, Baby Yoda is there.
And
There's 2 different versions of. I can't believe I said Baby Yoda.
Well, you're not supposed to say
That's
that.
the first time.
Oh.
I gotta go.
The people from Disney are waiting for you. He's Grogu.
It's just like it, but that kind of lends to like what you just said about people calling him dad. Like, think about how just exhausted he is mentally from like the meme culture around everything he does, and that's all. It's no different than Michael B. Jordan on the carpet with the person with the high school who called him corny. It's like
that was fucking
What
hilarious.
happened?
it's just like.
What is this?
Like he was on the red
There's
carpet.
like some like she's like an influencer, does like red carpet interviews, but she went to high school with Michael B. Jordan in Newark, and she used to dog him back in high school because like he would show up, like he was very serious about his career, would show up with like headshots, wouldn't like go out and drink and stuff like that. Like he was just kind of a square, like, but he was just focused on becoming a star. And so she made fun of him, and like they all did. And she was like, his name was Michael Jordan. Like, of course we were going to make fun of him. And she tried to interview him on the red carpet, and he like wouldn't even turn to face her. Like he's like turned, like looking back at her, and he's like, oh yeah. Yeah. And he's like, just, you can tell he fucking hated her.
Wow. Attaboy. Way to hold it.
Very
Right.
He said you used to call me corny in high school. I remember, I didn't forget, or something like that. It was very good.
Attaboy. Good job.
But it's like it's the same thing. It's like you get like Ryan Gosling got it for years in the carpet. Like what's like the memes like hey girl, like they'd say stuff like that, and like after a while like you just
like
break.
when they kept
like I just feel like you just
when they
break
kept asking Ryan Gosling to do the Wakanda Forever too. Like I just kept feeling bad for him.
I know.
And at a certain point, it's like when is enough?
The Oscars, the full year later after Black Panther came out, there is that one great clip of Chadwick Boseman.
Oh yeah, he's so tired of it.
Okay.
I'm clipping that.
Okay.
You just did it, Jeff. I'm clipping that and I'm putting that out. That you just did the Wakanda Forever. No, you can. It's not like you don't have the license to, but it's just a funny visual.
It's a racial slur.
So I'm gonna put like a kufi on your head too, and I'm gonna put like the full get up and be like Jeff
like the Nancy
we was
Pelosi
Kang's
picture.
Jeff we was Kang's low.
Jeff, if you want, we can when I upload it to YouTube, I can just cut out your video so your screen is just a black square.
Yeah.
Jesus.
News. What's going on? What's happening? SAG Awards we'll get to in a second. Lord of the Rings, though. New films in development at Warner Brothers. Not going to be remakes of the trilogy. Boy, that would have been
Disaster.
I don't have the energy to think about what the reaction would have been to that. New films, cool, I guess. I mean, the problem is the most recent new films were not
Don't
good.
tell Gooch that. They were at.
One of Gooch's biggest disappointments, the bad movie that came after the bad
out of
movie.
3 were good.
There was one good reply when we did like the disappointment draft. They're like, we're disappointed by that movie. They're like, what from the previous movie set you up for large disappointment in the next movie?
I thought we were going on an adventure.
That's like the halfway point of the first movie, and they do go start the adventure in the first movie, and the adventure isn't great.
The 44-minute mark.
What do you even want from this? Like, what would you want from a
like almost in the same realm that what the Amazon show is doing? Just like go to a totally different age, do something that's not like you got to do the rings and all that shit, but like you go to a different age. Don't touch like avoid touching as much of the stuff in the original trilogy as possible.
Do a Tom Bombadil movie.
Yeah, with James Corden. Yeah, that was an unbelievable tweet, and that wasn't substantiated by anything as far as I know. It was just some guy tweeting it.
Wait, somebody said that James Corden is going to star in Tom Bombadil.
They just said James Corden is in talks to star as Tom Bombadil, and everyone freaked out at it. But it was just some dude tweeting it. It was not a connected guy. He was like a PhD student at Cornell tweeted it. I don't know why people were freaking out as if it was real.
We haven't cornered the market on fake rumors enough. We've done it, but I feel like we could be way better at it.
I mean, if you want, I can absolutely just start lying.
If you could just be our absolute
menace,
just garbage can
Jeff
Twitter
had a good
account.
one, when we reviewed. I think it was the week we reviewed Top Gun, and he said that we should start a rumor that Mr. Six was played by Kathy Lee Gifford.
That's right.
Gooch, if you want to lean in and pretend you go to junkets and get information, that'd be great.
Did that with
I have South by Southwest coming up. I can't wait to come up with some shit.
I did that with when Derek Carr was interviewing with the Saints. I just tweeted like, "Yeah, I just saw Derek Carr with the New York Giants brass at Wolfgang's Steakhouse in New York City." Like just do shit like that.
I've never had that. I've never had a situation where I see an athlete at a restaurant, but I will take full advantage of that one day. I don't ever creep on athletes or celebrities, but if you're on Twitter, you gotta take advantage. Like, oh, just saw this.
Yeah, I just totally made it up, but it was funny.
A few years ago, this became a talking point on Detroit sports radio. Somebody claimed that their cab driver drove Khalil Mack to Ford Field to visit the facilities, and this was right before he got traded to the Bears. So it became a thing. Like, are the Lions trading for Khalil Mack? What are your thoughts? Call right now. I know it turned out to be bullshit.
There's like it's like every fan base has that one thing that they always like I know for Cleveland we always like Bill Cowher has a house in
the house ones are always the best.
Ohio. He's a coach. Yeah, house is always a good realtor. I'll tell you what, nobody Shams and Woj, no realtors know all. They know all the rumors.
Plane trackers.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was saying plane trackers as well, guys who.
Plane trackers. That's a good
plane
one.
trackers.
Yeah. In Cincinnati, it's just like people just see the guys at the mall. It's like that's how the rumor mill starts. It's like, oh yeah, I just saw Alex Kappa at the mall. It's like, okay,
saw John Kitna at the mall.
Why would they be at the fucking mall?
I don't really know what else in Lord of the Rings. Like, it's just don't suck.
They have to try to get Peter Jackson back, right? He's not busy. Like you have to.
He's playing with his World War I toys.
Put a big number in front of him and see if he'll come back and
get Del Toro to finally do it. Let him finally do Lord of the Rings thing.
That'd be kind of cool.
He wanted to do The Hobbit so badly.
That'd be kind of cool. But also,
an animated movie would be kind of cool if Del Toro wanted to do something like that. That'd be interesting.
They have one coming.
Where do they have the money to pay for these extravagant movies? By the way,
I don't know. Fucking cool.
Don't they have no money?
I think they have to make these movies, or else they give up the rights.
Oh, like Fantastic Four or whatever.
Yeah, like this is like they cannot lose these rights, so they have to pump out movies, which is kind of worrisome because maybe they'll just throw some shit at the wall.
no good movie has ever been made because they're up against the rights deadline. That's never happened.
Oh fuck, we might actually be getting.
They have the War of Rorium.
Oh, that's right.
They have an animated film coming out with Brian Cox.
That's right. I was thinking more like a Del Toro, maybe not like stop motion animation. Fuck that, but like something maybe animated. I don't know.
That. By the way, they're making a Pokemon stop animated. Cannot think of something I'd less want to see in stop animation than Pokemon.
Stop motion is the creepiest fucking thing on earth. It's like Ernest, like that, and dolls in general, just like no good. Keep them out of movies, in my opinion.
I don't know. I kind of like the Pokemon
Getting stop
thing.
motion.
No.
No, maybe not. No. Just for a second, it sounded cool.
That'd be like a good short.
Like
you know what I mean? Like some film student makes it or something like that, and it's like a 10-minute feature. Sure, but like exactly, yeah, that can't be a feature length movie, or even like anything past 15 minutes in general. I don't know. Do something creative. Just stay out of the realm of the original trilogy. I think you'll be fine because like no one's going to have a reference point other than Lord of the Rings nerds, and who cares what they think anyway? So just like go wild, use your imagination, and just get in your own creative space.
I wonder what portions they have the rights to. Like, do they have the rights to the Silmarillion or whatever? Like,
I don't think that shit ass Tolkien family gave the rights up to that to anybody, as far as I know of. They suck. They suck, man. Like they're so fucking self-righteous about the rights and shit. They're like, you gotta make sure you do the right thing. And like, oh, we hate the original Lord of the Rings trilogy. It's like, dude, it made $1 trillion. It made you $1 trillion because it made everyone interested in Lord of the Rings. Stop bitching about it. It was a good trilogy of movies. Like what the?
Or just don't give the rights away. Don't give any rights away. Take them all back and fuck off. Like that's the only other solution.
Found your own fucking movie theater or movie production company and make them yourself. Be the most boring movie of all time.
It'd be like when Stephen King hated The Shining, so he made it into a miniseries, and it was so fucking boring.
It's awful, truly bad. By the way, very funny.
You should.
I just noticed this at that Tommy Fury Jake Paul fight. Jake Paul came out to our coworker Large saying he. Jake Paul will crumple the minute he
finally came out.
He'll crumple when he first meets a real boxer, and like so, Jake Paul plays that in his walkout, and then immediately loses to a boxer.
Yeah,
like, that's a tough scene.
Yeah, it did lose. Large is right. SAG Awards winners: outstanding performance by a male in a leading role, Brendan Fraser. Outstanding performance by a female actor in a leading role, Michelle Yeoh. Supporting. Kiwi Kwan, he's going to win the Oscar if that's over. Female, Jamie Lee Curtis beat out Angela Bassett, Hong Chow.
I still don't get it.
Yeah. She's barely
like, she was really funny.
Movie.
I know, like she's really funny in the movie, sure, but like she's like best supporting actress. Did she contribute that much to that movie? No, not even close.
No,
that's crazy to me.
Angela Bassett's going to win the Oscar, though. I think.
Well, let's go to our good friend Walt Hickey, awards.substack.com. He's as good at kind of parsing out who wins everything, who's most likely to win. Supporting actor, it's over. Barry Keoghan won the BAFTA, but I don't see how that changes at all. Kiwi Kwan's going to win for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Supporting actress is it's chaos. Angela Bassett, Carrie Condon, Jamie Lee Curtis, they've all won like some of the big indicators. You never know. That's where an upset can potentially happen as well. From The Whale, Hong Chow, Stephanie Hsu from Everything Everywhere All at Once. So that one's very close. In terms of like categories that you truly don't know right now, it'd be supporting. Best actor, big win for Brendan Fraser, neck and neck with Austin Butler. It seems like Colin Farrell's a little behind at this point. So it's going to be probably a 1-to-1 race, Austin Butler against Brendan Fraser. Slight edge for Best Actor to Austin Butler. The Globes holds a little more weight in the acting category than it does anywhere else. But Austin Butler has that in the BAFTA, where Critics' Choice for Brendan Fraser, some local critic stuff, and the SAG Awards. So that's going to be real close. We really don't know. That's exciting. I love Austin Butler in the movie, but I absolutely hope Brendan Fraser wins. We talk about Brendan Fraser
in Freddie Prinze interview
with Freddie Prinze. Best Actress, Cate Blanchett has a pretty big lead, had a pretty big lead because of the BAFTA, but Michelle Yeoh's blown this up now. Kate Blanchett doesn't win for Tar. Michelle Yeoh now wins for Best Actress. The SAG Award catches her up. That's like, if you're talking about some underdogs, I think Kate Blanchett's still going to win. The BAFTA's a pretty big indicator. But if you're talking about like underdogs for any of these races, Michelle Yeoh is clearly the one, because everything Everywhere All at Once is pulling away right now with Best Picture.
Jeff, are you a motherfucking Tar boy?
There's a better term for people who like Tar that we can't use anymore. It's been phased out.
No comment to that.
Someone in our subreddit said they watched Tar and they thought that Lydia Tar was a real person.
It's a biopic on Lydia Tar. Lydia Tar, folks. That's true. That's Trill's like earnestly. He texted me more about that movie than any other movie of this last year. He fucking loves Tar. I don't know why.
The one thing that really bothered me about that movie is that opening like scene where they're doing the sit down interview with her. I got like heavy flashbacks from the way she talked to the newsroom with Jeff Daniels, like the way she's lecturing. It's like, oh my God, shut the fuck up. Like I just hated her right off the bat.
Newsroom, one of the best. The Newsroom did the Bin Laden scene in the air, right? That was their thing.
Yeah.
Oh, so funny. I need to be the first one to tell you, and we have compromised to a permanent end, Osama Bin Laden, which is another thing we talked to Freddie Prinze Jr. about. As a WWE writer, we got to the bottom of how The Rock was somehow the first person outside of like NatSec that knew Osama Bin Laden was dead. Just a wild thing.
Let me tell you why America is not the greatest country in the world.
Honestly, that's the best. Like, can you imagine if that happened in a different country? Like, I can't even think of an equivalent of like a WWE fighter for like a fucking European country or whatever, or something else. Like, it would be like if like Ronaldo announced Osama Bin Laden died or something like that. Like for Portugal, like, can you just imagine? It'd be insane.
Cristiano Ronaldo. Yeah, I hear some bad things are going down today, September 10th.
He's in the middle of camp in Portugal. He's like, got a bad feeling.
Imagine like a significantly less serious situation, like a Broadway show, like Wicked, like the witch comes out in full makeup, like, hey everyone.
The Blue Man Group breaks character too now.
Yeah. The gorillas take their masks off.
It was cool until the one guy.
Daft Punk takes their helmets off.
Osama Bin Laden has been killed.
So they took their helmets off and they have their voice changers. So that's just what they sound like.
There had to be a funnier situation. There had to be. Like, shit was going on that night. That was like a regular night, and it wasn't like super late. Fuck.
Yeah.
There had to be something.
No, it was not. It was finals week at Penn State. We had a big, like, there was thousands of people in the streets at Penn State just celebrating. Like,
I remember baseball games
crazy.
Going nuts, if I remember right. Like clips of baseball games after.
Yeah, there's like a Phillies Braves Sunday Night Baseball, I think, or Phillies Mets or something like that.
Or what was his name? Tony Lasorda announcing it. I'm trying to think of the funniest person that had a microphone that would have done it. I gotta think about it more.
I think that's it for news. We have an hour and a half long interview today, so I keep saying it's a longer time every time I mention it. But let's talk about
Last of Us.
Do we do interview then Cocaine Bear?
Let's do Last of Us. Interview then Cocaine Bear, right?
Yeah, Last of Us. How many episodes left? 3? I get this wrong every week.
Well,
There are 3 episodes left. I thought it was okay. I know, Chris, you didn't love it. I know Robbie Fox, he didn't love it. I don't know what you and Ken Jack, what you guys think about it. I thought it was okay. It felt like it might have been good if it was another series, but the bar is raised so high for this show right now that, like, I think I don't get me wrong, I think it'll fit well and like place well into the series, into like the season, but just kind of in one ear out the other. This episode, it was especially compared to most.
This was ironically. It's ironic we talked about The Hobbit earlier. This is like their Hobbit episode where they took something that could have been condensed down to like half an episode max, and stretched it into like a full one. And it felt you could really feel that stretched out. I think throughout it, and I think even for you guys too, because you didn't even play the game. And if you're saying you feel that, it's even worse. Like I played the game, and I just feel like that could have been really, really pressed down into a shorter time period. Like. Storm Reed was really good, so was Belle Ramsey, and the production value of like backdating that mall to 2003 was really, really cool. Like it legitimately looked like it just an old ass mall that was real and right in front of you. That was sick. But something about this episode, it makes me feel like Like they should be way more cognizant of like what was boring or didn't work from the game. You know what I mean? And what did work and what wasn't boring. And it makes me a little nervous about how they're going to approach adapting The Last of Us 2 in this next season, because there's a lot of stuff that didn't work in that game. And I really hope that they find a way to pivot away from it.
Chris, do you have like an inkling, not to play the game, well, maybe to play the game, but do you have like because I'm catching this right now, do you have an interest in like kind of spoiling the second game before the next season? Like, I don't know why, like I kind of want to know this time. Like I don't care this time, like I don't want to know. But like people talk about season 2 as such like discourse, right? So like I don't know, like I'm kind of interested in that
because I don't want to know what happens at the end of this one. But yeah, and once I do know that, I get what you're saying. I know that sounds kind of odd, but yeah, like I'll probably just look it up, see what happened, and see how they adapt.
Because it's kind of right, because everyone loves the first one, so why would I want to spoil? Like, why would like? But then people kind of have discourse around the second, so like I don't know, like maybe I'm not spoiling as much, but maybe they'll do something totally different too.
I think they're going to take some different. I would assume that they're going to take some different directions, because there were some story choices in season 2 that were not smart. And that, I don't know if you saw that, Gooch. Someone was tweeting like, "Oh, who should play Abby in season 2?" Like, you're essentially asking someone to like blow themselves up at that point, because like you're asking someone to play someone who's going to be like the most despised characters. Not from a story standpoint just alone, but like from like I think like a game standpoint. That's going to be really tough. That's going to be a really tough one. But yeah, I don't know.
I didn't play the second one.
It took me a while to play it because the discourse around it was so like, oh, it's so shit. It let me down from the first one. Like, it's still a good game. It's a good game. The story isn't nearly as strong as the first one by a healthy margin. I think that's fair to say. But then there's also like the discourse. Like, there's two different I feel like two different lanes of like parallel people that hate the movie or hate the game for different reasons. There's some who are just like, I don't want to fucking play as women, and like those people who just despise the game no matter what. And then there's the other camp where it's like, yeah, this legitimately just isn't as good a game as the first one. And I think one of those camps is correct. The other one is just they're agreeing for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, this episode also was based on a DLC, right? It wasn't even main story.
I remember this in the story.
I thought it was DLC.
Where you go with Riley into the mall?
I don't remember right. Yeah,
I don't remember getting bit.
There was a DLC thing I saw.
There was something in this episode that was based on a DLC.
Yeah, I saw that somewhere.
But yeah, no, the mall stuff, like, while it was really cool world building, and like you figure out, like, it does explain why Ellie like does the thing she does and is the way she is, but like that mall scene could have been cut down in half. Like 40 minutes in the mall was too much. It should have been about 15 to 20.
That whole flashback should have been half an hour, if you ask me.
Yeah, and then get back to the Ellie Joel stuff, which is why we're here. To be honest, we're here for Ellie and Joel.
We're here for hot Pedro Pascal,
Daddy,
as he can be called.
Daddy, Ellie, they're calling me.
Oh, and he rolls right into another show this week. No, you don't see him. You don't. Well, I don't know. Maybe you'll see
Daddy online, Ellie.
If he's trying to
gotta go west.
If he's trying to redeem himself from Mandalore or whatever, I feel like he has to keep the helmet on. I feel like he's learned his lesson.
That's true. Every time he takes it off, he resets back to stage 0.
Go right back to Mandalore. But yeah, I think this is the weakest episode so far. But just structurally, just felt too stretched out.
I saw dumbass Chris Clemmer, ghoul head Chris Clemmer say it was awful. That's a bad take.
I think the episode's been overly criticized. It's the first episode in which I really felt the length. I'm with you, but there's the discourse surrounding it, at least in the tweets I got, made it seem like it didn't do something that you can't repair. Like it was just a filler episode. Yeah,
you just have a higher expectation. That's the thing. It's one of those things where God.
It didn't help that we knew how it was going to end. Like, even people who didn't play the game, you know that Ellie's getting bit there, and you assume her friend is too because she's not with her when you meet her at the first episode. But you know she's about to get bit. So, like, you're just kind of waiting for that to happen.
Yeah.
I don't think they really built up the dread of that happening through the episode because the infected is just chilling. He's just chilling in the back. Like, they never really show him like kind of walking towards them, or like that dread wasn't really there until he just kind of shows up.
His reveal was kind of like, I don't know. I was expecting like a more built up, well done jump, not like jump scare, but like it to be a good reveal. He just kind of came out from the corner, like the corner of the spooky store. Like That's kind of lame.
Hey, I'm here to do some infecting.
Yeah, just it was.
What
Get out
up?
of my mall.
I like the idea that like none of those other stores were, because like eventually like you're not going to go and raid the panty store right when like the apocalypse breaks out, but eventually someone's going to go raid the panty store, right? Like eventually you're going to go.
Oh yeah,
like,
I thought that was weird too. I was like, someone had to be down there and probably should have grabbed that. Like, you never know.
yeah, I can use some lacy underwear.
Everything should have been grabbed.
The lace industry of all the industries post-apocalypse, I got to figure that's got to be in the toilet. There's not much lacy underwear being made now. At that point, it's
Yeah, what's the first mall store you're raiding?
Yeah.
FYE, I guess. You have all the energy drinks like the Bob Ross energy drink and all that weird foods and shit. No one's going there for food.
And then you go to the mall. You're like, oh, honey, we really need supplies. Like, I'll be back. You come back. What'd you get? It's an oversized gummy bear and 6 Funko Pops from FYE.
I'm going to Buckle. I'm gonna go to Buckle and get all the leather I can get.
I got a Naruto sweatshirt.
All right, Freddie Prinze Jr. We interviewed him. It was a lot of fun. It was barely most of them had an interview. The best was he was like telling these elaborate stories, and then he said motherfucker. He's like, oh shit, I'm sorry. We're like, let it fly, brother. Let it fly.
Cool podcast.
Yeah, you're one of those cool pods. We swear. All right, here it is.
We are pleased the first time to be joined by Freddie Prinze Jr. Talking about a lot of stuff today, but off the top, how's it going? How are you? What's going on?
Well, the weather in LA is god awful. It
Snow,
doesn't rain
right?
here. Not where we are, but yeah, there's some snow. Sacramento, I think I hit, but in Southern California, it is just pouring rain. I'm in our attic, my little studio where all my nerd stuff is, and yeah, it's been awful. I was born in this city. I don't know what rain is. I hate rain. I don't know why people exist in Seattle. I don't do well with rain. But other than that, I'm great.
It's if you live so I'm in Austin, Texas right now, and I went to I'm mostly from here, but we had an ice storm a few weeks ago, and I just remember telling someone it's not supposed to. This is not supposed to happen.
Yeah, and Texas gets ice like that once every 25 years, and the whole state shuts down because that's not supposed to be here.
Not at all.
That's
Actually,
fair.
Speaking of which, I gotta say we're not going to talk about the show much at all. But last night, I'm at my mom's house right now, and she was asking who's your interview tomorrow? And I swear to you, I'm not making this up for the sake of this. I looked up, and on Nickelodeon, it was your episode of Friends at that exact moment she asked.
Oh, on I was like, I don't think I've been on Nickelodeon.
You'd remember getting slimed. You would definitely remember that.
It was your Friends episode. I actually went, well, him, actually. Funny enough, I got that stuff.
So there's
episodes. It was yours.
There's a cool story connected with that. My wife and I had just gotten back from England. I did a friggin' play out there. I'll never do play ever again. It was so boring and horrible. Said the same friggin' lines every day. I was literally going crazy in England. So I'm finally home. It had been 3 days. I'm still jet lagged and recovering, and those lines are still in my head. And I got a call, and they said, hey, Friends wants to offer you one of their celebrity guest cast roles. Would you want to do it? And I was like, yeah, man, that would be really fun. I had the Brad Pitt Thanksgiving episode in my head. Right? So I was like, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And they go, okay, it shoots tomorrow. And I was like, what? And they go, yeah, they offered it to Tom Hanks. He said yes, but he got stuck in an airport and he can't make it. Do you want to do? I was like, yeah, I'll take Tom Hanks in sloppy seconds. Hell yeah.
He was filming The Terminal while that was happening. That's
I don't know. Maybe it was no, that's too early. But yeah, so I went there the very next day, and they said, here's your music instructor. I said, what? They said, yeah, this guy's going to teach you how to play the recorder. I go, you didn't think I was going to fake it? And they're like, well, you can. And I was like, oh my God. So I'm actually playing that. So I learned it that day and played it that night. And on the recorder, I think it was Green Sleeves is what it was. And I only got to hang out with everybody for 12 hours. I had a great time. They were all super cool to me. Made a couple friends on that show. Sarah and Courtney are still friends to this day. So yeah, man, it was a good time. It's all because of Tom Hanks's bad luck at an airport.
I'm still wondering if they were told that he was still at an airport, if he was filming the turn. Like I'm very curious.
The Terminal was way later than
Okay.
that.
It's a documentary,
There's
actually.
no
The
way.
Terminal.
There's no way.
That's what inspired it. It
Yeah.
wasn't the true story that it was based on. It was him not getting his cameo on
self-filmed
Friends.
docudrama.
That's great. WWE Rivals. We'll talk about this off the top. You already had a ton of episodes there this past summer. Second season now premiered on the 19th. A&E. You've tackled Steve Austin, The Rock, Undertaker, Kane, Triple H, Mick Foley, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant so far season 2.
Yeah.
What has been your absolute favorite rivalry or storyline to talk about, or something might be your favorite that we haven't even seen yet?
Okay, so like the easy answer is Eddie and Ray Ray, right? So, but I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that because it was, and then we did this one in season 2. And you just have to hear me out. It's a long-winded story, but hear me out. Trish Stratus and Lita. All right. These two women, for those who don't know, and even for those who do, I just think it's a Greek tragedy, okay? But it's an amazing story. So both these women mainstreamed women's wrestling more than anyone before them ever had, okay? They are the foundation that women's wrestling is built on, not the generation before them. Trish represented the perfect woman, right? Like she was Kelly LeBrock from Weird Science, created by the two dorks on the computer. What would the hottest girl in the world look like? And they put all the information in, and then boom, Kelly LeBrock, who, yes, was the hottest woman in the world. If you don't know who she is, Google her old Vidal.
Great movie. Weird Science.
So anyway, that was Trish Stratus. She was perfect. And then you have Lita, who's equally beautiful, but on the opposite end of the spectrum. Lita's the girl that would drink beers with you, probably drove a muscle car and was like, let's go drag race and find some sucker in a Porsche and take $200 off him. And then we'll go make out, right? So guys either like Trish or Lita. Very rarely did guys root for both of them. That's the movie poster. That's what brought guys to the story, the rivalry, the theater. And before girls get mad and go, oh, that's sexist, the same way Magic Mike had a poster of a bunch of sexy dudes with sweet abs and just jacked and looking like Bruce Lee, but sexier, right? That's the poster that gets you to the theater. It's then the storytellers, the performers' jobs to tell a story cool enough that you won't walk out the theater. It was then Lita and Trish's job to perform at a level that wouldn't make you want to leave the room while you're watching that pay-per-view or go get snacks during the women's match the way people used to do. So that's the caveat in there before people say Freddie's a jerk. I probably am, but so are you.
We are too. It's okay. It's okay.
Everybody is. So they just don't like admitting it. So anyway, the story is Trish is the champion because she's perfect. She's flawless. She was built on a computer by nerds smarter than us. She's wearing the belt. Lita has to chase this because she's not considered as pretty, or accessible would be the term that a studio would use. Excuse me, or that that WWE would use as an excuse to keep a belt off someone like that. It's why you see so many pretty people on television. So I was a Lita guy. So I'm watching this story as she's trying to climb the ladder and then the mountain falls off and falls off and falls off. And this story culminates to Puerto Rico at a pay-per-view. I don't remember which one it was. The show will tell you. And it's raining outside. And it's an outdoor pay-per-view. I mean, it looks like the third act of a great movie where it's like, dun, 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 thunder, here's the rain, and they're going to work the match. They go out there, and tonight is Lita's night. Tonight, she actually is booked to win the title, and she can represent all the people who connect with that side of life and can finally have their champion. And in the middle of the match, her knee explodes. Wow. Every ligament, every tendon, everything that can snap and tear, snaps and tears. They got 12 minutes to go, and her knee's gone, and she doesn't quit. She guts it out. She climbs back in the ring, and her and Trish are head to head like in a collar elbow tie out, and they're whispering to each other, what are we going to do? No, you got to win, Lita. No, I can't. My knee's done. I can't work. I can't wrestle. You have to. And Trish wants to give her the belt and she can't. And this is happening live on television. And the referee's probably going, holy crap. Okay, Freddie is on right now, talking into his little microphone. What do we do? All right, Trish retains. Okay, holy crap. The girls are trying to work it out, and they still work the match so that Trish can then win. What a horrible ending to a story. What a horrible ending. And it's the most beautiful tragedy. The way like American horror films are gross, Korean horror films are beautiful. And it's not because Asian people are prettier than us. You can pause a Korean horror film at any point, take your TV, hang it on a wall, and it looks like an artistic photograph. That's what this is, only it's friggin' real. It was real. And it makes it, Romeo and Juliet lasted all these, generations because they die at the end. Because you've forgotten every story where it worked out for the happy couple and they went off. Trust me, I was in a lot of them. They're forgettable. But when they both die and it doesn't work out, that sticks with you forever. So that's why, to me, this is my favorite one. And we didn't do it till much, much later. Otherwise, it would be Ray and Eddie, because I just had a different kind of connection to that altogether. But this one is just so horrible that it's great. And I don't mean horrible as in the storytelling. I mean, what was actually going on was awful. And I just can't imagine being in that position. You know what I mean? Like Jackie Chan took 2 months off a Rumble in the Bronx when he broke his foot. He got 2 months off. She didn't get 2 minutes.
The idea of having to do that live and to figure it out and like whisper talk while you're beating the shit out of each other in a ring and like perform, that's like, that would make me never want to do it again. I'd be like, I have too much anxiety. I can't.
Exactly.
But you're doing something you love. They're doing something there.
That's true. That's true.
Exactly. There's one match I would love to hear more about. And I remember this kind of almost like how with the Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant match, which you guys did in this latest season, which I didn't know any of the stuff really that you guys had talked about, like what was going on with Andre. That's like a fight where it happened long ago enough where I was like, I watched the YouTube clip of it, or the YouTube of the fight, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool. And then like I don't know anything in the background, so it was cool seeing like that back and forth, or sort of like the background of the actual fight. But one fight I would love to see more about, which is also kind of touched on a different documentary, is 1999 No Quit between The Rock and Mankind, because that I think is a match I watched when I was starting to get more into wrestling, and I was like, this is fucking insane that these people are doing this to each other. And people are like, when I grew up, people are like, oh, wrestling's fake. It's like, dude, he just threw him into like a mountain of tacks. He just like threw him off a ladder. They're doing this crazy stuff. And obviously Mankind's daughter being in the middle of all that too. Like there's just so much crazy stuff that was happening in that match.
Yeah. So 2 things. As far as like the fake thing goes, this is really simple. I have friends who are like, bro, you're 46. You still watch wrestling? And I go, bro, you're 46. You still watch television? You still read books?
Exactly.
You still go to movies? You still like music? You're 46 years old. You listen to songs? What the hell's the matter with you?
You like music, man?
Like it's all art. And the beautiful thing about professional wrestling is it's the actual blood, sweat, and tears on a literal canvas. At the end of a wrestling show, it looks like a Jackson Pollock painting with just a whole bunch more red than he would ever use. Like it is a physical transmission of art onto a live crowd. And if this many people still love it, then it's working. So when people trash it, I've never taken offense to it because I just dig it. And I like what I like. People are going to find a reason to hate you. Don't worry about it. Like, don't let it be wrestling. As far as the story that you're discussing, and I love The Rock, and he's been in some of the best ones ever, but that's all because of Mankind. I mean, he's such a unique creature, right? Like he's played 3 characters at the same time on a live show, and instead of it sucking, it was awesome. It was awesome. He played 3 characters. That's stupid. That's horrible writing and a terrible idea. And it worked. And it didn't just work. It killed. It killed because of him. Because of him and what he was able to commit to. You know what I mean? It's funny. Mick's one of my favorites of all time. And when I met him, I ruined any chance of us being cool because I wanted to talk to him about Ric Flair, who was another one of my favorites. And I didn't know that they hated each other. I had no idea. And so I'm just watching, as I'm talking to Mick, I'm just watching him disengage. And I'm like, I screwed up and I don't know what I did, but I screwed up. And so I said, it's nice to meet you. And I was talking to, I don't remember, I think it was Chris Masters. And this is a long time ago. And I was like, I think I just blew it with Foley. He was like, dude, no way. He goes, Mick would love you. He goes, what'd you say? And the moment I said Ric Flair, he goes, oh God. And I went, what? He goes, those guys hate each other. I was like, oh, you're God damn. So I don't think Mick likes me, but just Mick, if you're listening, I love you so much, dude. Like you contributed more blood to WWE than any other wrestler that's ever bled in the ring. Like that's such a sacrifice. I love your Japan matches. I love Cactus Jack. He'd rather fight a man than love a woman. Like I even remember your old catchphrases, and I'm so sorry I mentioned Ric Flair's name, dude. It's just I was just a dumb guy, man. Forgive me. But yeah, we jump into Mankind a lot. He has multiple rivalries on this series because they were so good. So we jump into him and Triple H as well. That weird, it wasn't called a basement match. What was that called when they were like fighting in the bowels of the arena? I don't remember what they called that pay-per-view, but he had that promo down there too, where it's like the gas pipes are there and Cornette's rats. What was Cornette's rat's name? The rat was Jim Cornette's, for those who don't know. I don't remember his name, but he like died a couple weeks after. And like all that's like, it just made Mick made wrestling special when wrestling needed special more than ever. Because the Attitude Era, the storylines were so out there and so impossible to get with that unless you had an actor pulling these types of choices off, they were never going to work. And that's why guys like The Rock could make it work because he knew how to act. Stone Cold knew how to act. Mankind knew how to act. Taker knew how to do his thing and act within that space, right? They all kind of had that it factor. But when you applied those stories to the people who didn't have it, that's when you're just watching like, what am I even looking at right now? The matches from the Attitude Era are the greatest matches I've ever seen in my life. Like some of those matches, I'm sitting there going like, is this a 30-minute match? It feels like 3. Like it just blows me away. But Mankind is one of the, I mean, hell, his match is one of the reasons WWE still exists today. It was when they announced he won the championship and everyone went, wait, what? And Turner just underestimated the average man in America. Who are they going to relate to more? Mick Foley or some jacked, shredded, 7-foot demon guy? No, they're going to connect with him. Why would you do that? Why would you tell anyone that? And everyone changed the channel. And Mick should ask for more money. He should be like, hey, man, I want a better stock option. Like,
exactly.
I'm the reason you're still here. So yeah, dude, he's a big part of season 2. We didn't get to have him like in panel. But you know, he's such a friend of the company. He'll always be available for interviews and things like that.
So many.
No,
go ahead,
sorry,
Jack, go ahead.
I was gonna say there's one piece of WWE history. It's my favorite 2-part piece of WWE history. It's not necessarily a rivalry, but it's something I would love to see a WWE documentary on. And both of it basically surrounds the same event, and it's the killing of Osama bin Laden, and it's how The Rock was somehow the first person to know outside of military personnel that Osama bin Laden was killed, and then John Cena announcing it live. We have compromised to a permanent end Osama bin Laden, and how wrestling of all the competitive sports and all the peoples in the world, how they were the first people kind of cued in on this.
So I don't have information on this. I just know how their company works. And I know Vince fairly well. I worked with him every day for a couple of years. The only way I could see that would happen is Vince knew first because of his connections politically. And he probably heard from his lawyer, whose name I think is Jerry, because he has deep connections to that. And then Vince probably told his 2 biggest stars, hey, you're going to announce it and it's going to be a big press thing and people on a podcast are going to talk about it 20 years from now. What's a podcast, Freddie? God damn it. I don't even know what that is.
Oh, there's just one of the funniest things ever. It's like the weirdest piece of American history, I
And
think.
delivered by a huge buff guy that looks like All Might from My Hero Academia.
Wow,
That's
what
who's
a pull.
delivering.
You're an MHA guy? I would have never have imagined.
Oh, bro, I've watched dude, this is my hoodie if it gets too cold in here. And it's a Tokyo Ghoul print from season.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. I got a full volumes of anime behind on the camera and everything. But yeah, MHA, that's one of my favorite ones running. That's great.
Bro, I'm a huge anime head and even more so horror movie. I have a horror podcast coming out on March 15th. It's called That Was Pretty Scary. It's me and my podcast partner, John Lee Brody. That's James Wan's protege. James Wan is the guy that made my scary movies into comedies because he's a dick. Just kidding. I love him. He's amazing. And we break down every horror movie ever made. And our first episode is I Know What You Did Last Summer, which I actually never watched because I had a horrible experience on it and almost quit the business. And yeah, so he made me sit down and watch it. And that's our pilot episode. So that comes out in a couple weeks, you guys. It's on Amazon through Wondery. You can listen to it on Amazon Music early if you're a member on their thing. And if not, wherever you listen to podcasts, check it out. And I have my wrestling podcast every week too. We're not going
top horror movie of the year. Do you have a pick?
Well, there's one coming out that I'm looking forward to, but I would say The Menu was my favorite of the year so far. I just saw Megan with my daughter, and that was a fun movie. It was fun, but I wouldn't put it up there like as like a top one. But yeah, I think
I moved heavy on Barbarian. The more I think about
Barbarian's super good. When a horror movie gets great actors, I'm going to lean toward that. And when you have Ralph Fiennes and my favorite type of film, I'm just like, we're good. We're good. And every actor in that movie was freaking great. Look, the guy and girl in Barbarian did a wonderful job and their chemistry is great. But Ralph Fiennes is perfect actor. He's
he's unreal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I am not. He is.
You mentioned older movie you're in, so I got to jump to this because we've never had anyone from this franchise on, and I got to ask, especially because James Gunn is just so.
Oh, it's scoops.
Everything is James Gunn these days. How, from your words, and I've seen many in the cast talk about it. How truly uncut is the uncut Scooby-Doo 2 that we just have never seen? How different is this movie that's been teased to us?
It was the script that was much more different. The script is what drew all of us to it. It's been so long now. I'll tell you guys everything. I wasn't even going to do the movie. Sarah liked what they were doing with Daphne and with Velma, and she liked all the jokes that people had made for years were a part of the script. And I didn't want to lose my girlfriend for 6 months. I was like, "You're going to go to Australia for 6 months?" And I was like, hold up. I go, are there any other roles in this? She goes, they haven't cast the Fred role yet. And I was like, all right. So I call my agent. I go, let me see if I can get a meeting with Chuck Roven. He was the producer on it. And so I get the meeting and I go in there and I'm like, ain't nobody gonna know more about Scooby-Doo than me. I was like, I'll dye my hair or wear a wig. And so he starts quizzing me and I'm like, all right, let's go. All I do is watch cartoons, whether they're from Japan, Korea, or here. So he's trying to grill me and he doesn't know shit about Scooby-Doo. In the first 10, he'll admit this now. In the first 10 seconds, I'm like, oh, this dude has no idea what he just did. And so I just start rattling through the episodes, every celebrity episode, the title of the episode, all this. And he's like, well, okay. In 3 minutes, he taps out, right? He doesn't even last one round with me. And so I get the offer from Scooby and they want everyone to do 2 films. And so I sign on. The script's cool. They talk about Fred maybe being gay. They had all this. They had Shaggy and Scooby smoking pot in the Mystery Machine and all this great stuff, everything you wanted it to have. We're all signed on. We get on Qantas Airlines. It's a 17-hour flight to Australia. We land and we go. They don't even let us go to our condos or houses or whatever everybody rented. We rented the motherfucker. Oh, sorry.
No, you're curious. We're
okay. We rented the fucker who invented Nintendo's summer house in Australia.
That's gotta be pretty good.
God, that's awesome.
So this thing was it was 50,000 square feet. It had its own private dock. The guy that voiced Scooby-Doo did the stunt show there, the water sports stunt show. He would pick me up at the dock. I would wakeboard behind and he would drop me off at the dock. And on one of our trips, I didn't even get wet. So I'm ready to have a great trip, but we don't get to go there yet. We go straight to production and they hand us the new script. And it's real quiet and it's real awkward in the production office. And I'm sitting there like, I'd already worked for Warner Brothers and I've never had a good experience at Warner Brothers ever, and had a bad experience with Summer Catch. And so now I'm like, all right, this isn't going to be good. They changed my baseball movie from a rated R movie to a PG after I signed on and landed in North Carolina. So that's where my head's at. And I start reading the script. By the way, the Summer Catch script was way better than the movie. It was rated R, which is what it needed to be. It really dove in deep on like the moms there in whatever city that it was taking place in. I don't remember, so long ago, and how they would kind of sleep with the young virile baseball players. And there was a lot of cool stuff in there that made it more real. So anyway, I'm reading the script, and page by page, it's a rated G kids movie. There's not Pixar movies had more adult jokes than this. And so I'm pissed and I want out, I'm like, crap, I don't know what to do, man. Do I call my agent? Do I call my manager? And Sarah's like, don't. She was like, don't, because it's going to screw everybody up. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. All right, we're going to gut it out and I'm just make the best of it. And so I committed everything into it, did the best job that I could do. When it came time to sell the movie, I did all the press, even press that I normally wouldn't do, just so that they would then open a slot up for Matt and Linda, because they weren't at that level yet. Now they are, but they weren't then.
You have one of the funniest press interviews of all time for that movie. You have one of the funniest clips of all time.
Oh, people have sent that to me. I still give Sarah shit about that. I'm like, look how serious are you guys. Look how serious Linda and Matt and you all you talking about this and that. And she goes, yeah, well, you called it Shakespeare. And I go, yeah, it is. And she said, what do you mean? I go, it's Falstaff. Who do you think Shaggy and Scooby are? They only saved the day by accident. I go, it is. I go, so no, you got nothing on me. It's a dog that talks. That's why we like this movie. So we do the movie. It does huge business. And I can't believe I'm telling this story, but I'm going to tell this story. Everybody back then, if your movie did well, you were getting like big time bonuses, right? Like the cast of X-Men, when their movie came out, everybody got $1 million check.
Damn.
Every one of the X-Men on top of their salary because the movie did so well. Lethal Weapon 3 or 4, I don't know which one it was. They all got a Range Rover when the movie did so well. Our movie outperformed these movies. So we're like, holy shit, what are we going to get? We're super hyped, right? My wife and I at the time lived in a gated community. Guard gate calls, hey, there's a delivery from Warner Brothers here. We were expecting it. We said yes. They come up. Both of us are like, what's it going to be? What's it going to be? What's it going to be?
Oh, no.
Our agents don't know. Our managers don't know. The guy gets up there, opens the gate. He goes to the back door of his like 4-door SUV, grabs this big basket. I'm like, what? What is this? And he brings it up. And I'm thinking it's like a fruit basket. Like, what is this? There'll be a letter or something with a check or like something. And he sets it down and he leaves. And Sarah and I open it up. You can tell it's a basket, but it's wrapped. We open it up, and inside is a box of Scooby snacks and a Scooby-Doo stuffed animal. And my wife and I are like,
no,
hold up. Well, this is just like, is like, I'm kind of laughing. I'm like, is this a joke? Like, are we getting, what was the Ashton Kutcher show back in the day?
Punked, yeah.
I was like, are we getting punked? Like, I'm looking around and Sarah's like, there's no way. Like, she's from New York. She ain't having it. I'm from LA. So we're chill. So it comes in and my agent and manager and her agent are calling. They're like, so what is it? What's it going to be? And I'm like, yo, man, I got a box of Scooby snacks. And they didn't even give us one each. They expected us to fucking share. Yes. So I'm like, man, I'm just not feeling Warner Brothers. They're not feeling me for sure. So then here comes the second movie. And again, the first one made $750 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the second movie comes in and the whole cast wants to renegotiate because they didn't, at that time, I was probably the highest on the, well, I know I was the highest on the salary list for them. And my movies were doing well. So that's why I was in that position. So I was happy with what I was making for the sequel because it was a ton. Okay. And I felt everyone deserved a raise, but I told my agent, don't ask for one. And no one can ever say anything I'm saying isn't true. This is 100% true. So my agent gets a call and, or no, he calls them and they're like, hey, we'd like to talk about, the contract. And he goes, don't worry, Freddie doesn't want to renegotiate. And they said, no, we would like him to take a pay cut so that we can give the rest of the cast a raise and they'll all make the same money. And my agent calls me and I go, well, then who's giving them the raise? Me or Warner Brothers? They didn't work for me. Why am I paying them more? Like, I agree. Everyone should get paid what I'm getting paid on the sequel. I completely agree. No, I'm not taking a pay cut. I know exactly how many dollars the movie made. You're not in the red. Like, I didn't
use Scooby snacks.
Yeah, you did owe them, so that's fair. That you owed them for the Scooby snacks.
That was probably $650. So, so I'm sitting there like, these people are crazy. Like, there's no way they hate me that much. They did. And so I said, no, absolutely not. I'm not doing that. Between the two movies, I can't tell that part. That would put someone on a hot seat that until him and I have a face-to-face conversation, he shouldn't be on the hot seat. So I'll leave that middle part out.
We'll save that one for next time.
Next time. Some foul shit happened in the middle too. But yeah, man, so it was crazy. And on the second one, they were trying to fire Raja, who directed the first one. And they're like, we're not happy. It's like, what are you not happy about? You gave him less money than you did on the first one. And less resources, less time, less everything. And now you're saying it feels a little less than the first one. Yeah, it's funny how that works, right?
Yeah.
So it was tough because everyone involved in the movie wanted to make Scooby-Doo great. And everyone on the studio side wanted to make a great amount of money from Scooby-Doo. And granted, it's show business, and business is clearly the bigger word. But once all these studios became publicly traded, the show part is almost deleted. So it was a challenging experience, but outside of like my very first job in this business, what I know you did last summer, Warner Brothers is the only place that I've never had like everywhere else. I've always been like, man, this is the greatest job in the world. Holy cow. And every Warner Brothers job, I'm like, how many more days till it's gone? Okay, great. They tried to make a movie about my dad. And, they can't do that without the family's consent. And so they were talking to me and I was like, you guys are crazy. I go, why are you even trying to negotiate? Like, you're not going to be respectful when we negotiate because you never are. Their business affairs people are so hardcore. Like, they take it personally. And I'm, again, like, I was born here. I've been surfing since I was 3 years old. Like, I don't care. I just don't. So I'm a Pisces. We chill out. We watch everybody else screw up and let them entertain us. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, don't even like bother. I go, because you're going to be disrespectful and I won't even counter. I'll just walk away like, no, we're serious about this. And I made an offer that was so beyond what I thought as far as on the low end. I'm like, they're probably going to offer like $100,000 for the rights and be like, yeah, that's a great offer. I'm not selling my dad for any amount of money, let alone 100. And they came in lower than what the number I thought was. I was like, oh my God. I called my buddy who's an exec there and I was like, I told you, don't even let them do. He goes, I know. And then I'm like, bro, there's no chance that Warner Brothers will ever see a movie about my dad ever, bro. Like,
you're telling the story at a great time where like Warner Brothers has no good clout with like American culture, just based on like all the shows they cancel, like all the movies that have been canned. And it's like, it's kind of funny you're telling this stuff now. It's like, just kind of lines up.
It's a publicly traded company. So the same people that make these mistakes, when they get fired, they go somewhere else, make mistakes there, and then come back and then do the same thing again. So it can be challenging from time to time as an artist to work that way. But my uncle, who was my dad's manager, he was Prince's manager, he was Van Halen's manager. He said, to be an artist, you have to have a split personality. Half has to be a businessman, half has to be the artist. And the artist is always going to think the businessman is evil and selfish, and the businessman is always going to think the artist is a pussy. And I mean, those are his words. So, at a young age, I was exposed to that philosophy. So this business has never really offended me, even when they're going out of their way to be offensive, because there's not a level of respect there in the first place. There's no foundation for it. You can't make me feel better or worse if we don't have a mutual respect, right? Then it's just noise. Even if I hate a movie and you love it, I love it, it does not change the way I feel. I'm like, no, that sucked, but thank you. So yeah, man, it was like Scooby was such a weird experience because it was supposed to be the best, and it ended up so far below what I know we all could have done. And James is much more diplomatic about it than I am. I remember I said this years ago and got a lot of heat. People got pissed. You're talking bad about da 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 da. I'm like, wow, sorry you guys got offended. I'm just telling you the truth. And then James said it like 5 years later, and they're like, he's a hero to the cause. I'm like, come on, man. You gotta give me some love on that. What the hell? But yeah, man, I still love it because of the effect that it had on multiple generations. Like I've had tons of young people come up of all different generations, people that are in their late 20s now who are like, dude, I freaking love that movie so much, man. I made my parents watch it 40 times. And so I have a lot of love and appreciation for it. But the experience itself was super challenging, man. It really helped me negotiate, not just for myself on later projects, but for my friends as well, in telling them like, here's how I think you should sort of circumnavigate all the speed bumps that they're going to intentionally put in your way through, negotiating a deal for a movie. So they taught me a lot. I would have rather them teach me in a cool fashion than the way they chose to do it.
Yeah. Like a sick Scooby-Doo movie. That'd have been a fun way to learn.
Yeah. Just like, let everyone have fun and be respectful and treat people the way you want to be treated. Like the old school rules that don't seem to exist anymore.
You had, speaking of people who had, I would say, a more challenging experience with Hollywood, you had a very awesome interview with Brendan Fraser, a guy who we interviewed him, I say years ago now. It had to be like 2017 or something like that.
Yeah.
And like, we were like, just kind of, I think maybe over the top with how much we loved him. And like, he was like on guard. He's like, are you guys fucking with me? Or something like that. Yeah. He didn't really get it, but like he realized more towards the end, like, no, we just genuinely love all of your movies and everything. We just kind of miss seeing you on screen. And this is when he was doing Doom Patrol. But just
God, yeah, what a great voice he threw in there, man. So
awesome
much
show.
Soul and heart in a freaking robot. He had more soul than anyone in the cast.
I know, it's crazy. But yeah, just how special is it to just kind of see a guy who you obviously know very well back in the spotlight?
You make me cry, man. Brendan, he's the one, man. Like, and what makes people love him is he doesn't know he's the one. He doesn't.
We met him one time. Can absolutely say
he doesn't know.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, he doesn't know how great he is, or maybe he does, but he doesn't know how relatable he is, because Brendan's a giant. He's 6'6". He looks like a professional wrestler and would beat most of the guys. But his soul and his spirit is like a young kid wanting to show you what he made. And he's so honest and pure the way he approaches everything that it's like you'll have conversations with him and be like, dude, do you not know who the hell you are? Like, what? Bro, I worship you. Like, you made choices on screen in School Ties that I tried to replicate. Like, I've stolen from you, man. Like, you got to understand, like, people love you. We say that to him all the time. So, like, when you were talking about he thought you were joking with, like, the love affair and the bromance that guys have with Brendan, that's real. Like, he's a very humble guy. And I know humility isn't cool in the Instagram video age of guys going like, alpha this and alpha that. They don't know what these personality types are, you guys. There's no such thing as the Omega personality. That's made up by people that go on tour and try to take money from insecure dudes. There's the alpha, the beta, and the Omega. And every human on earth has all three, and there's a dominant. Here's the best way to learn what they are. People are very compliments and criticism. The alpha personality has already decided how they feel about any given situation, and they do not seek the advice of others once it is complete. So Kobe Bryant, Kobe, you'll never be as good as Michael Jordan, whatever. Kobe, you're the best. Right on. He already knew how he felt about his career. The beta personality, more artists, right? Or even some modern day athletes are very susceptible to compliments and criticism. Kevin Durant, false accounts and stuff like, Kevin, you suck. And then a fake account. No, he does not. Like, that's somebody who's affected by that, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing, it's just a normal personality type. And the Omega personality wants to know the motivation, right? So they're this weird combo, and there's fewer of them. So it'll be like, and that's more me. People will be like, Freddie, you suck. And my head goes, why does he think I suck? Did his girl bring him to a movie in the 90s that I was in, and he didn't want to see it because he wanted a car scene? Well, that's fair enough. Yeah, I wouldn't like me either. You know, and I'll go down this like journey of what motivated, or Freddie, I think you're the best. And I'm like, great. He wrote a script. He wants me to read it. Here we go. And then in 30 seconds, dude, I wrote this script, man. Would you read it? I told you, Freddie, you should have walked. You know what I mean? Like, that's the Omega personality. We don't care about the compliment or the criticism. We want to know why you feel that way. So those are the three types. Omega is not, there's no lion walking through the jungle, I'm the Omega. That's just made up shit, you guys. Sigmund Freud worked this out a long time ago, and he's much smarter than a dude on Instagram that's super buff with a shaved head telling you a bunch of nonsense. Now, that said, have we leaned too far in one direction and are young men being emotionally castrated? Yes, I agree 100%. However, you don't have to go all the way the other way. You got to be, like Bruce Lee said, balanced, unnatural naturalness, or natural unnaturalness, the middle.
I love it. That's a beautiful answer.
That's my soapbox for the day.
When and like that, just the fact that you say that about him, because then we only have to meet him one time, dude. And we're too. Fortunately, when it comes to like an award show, like press tour, and trying to like get some award votes, our podcast just isn't the stop for that, because like we're just gonna kind of riff it out.
He's
and
on
it's such
tour.
a serious role.
Yeah,
he's on tour right now, bro.
Then.
Yep.
But for some reason, and I know the Oscars aren't the end all be all, when they read the nominations, they read one nomination this year, not alphabetical, and they skipped over Brendan Fraser. I was like, I was in bed watching on my phone at like 5 a.m. I was like, what the I almost threw my phone. And then he was the last one. They said him, and they said someone else. I was like, oh my God. I was like, if you'd just done that, I don't know what I would have done. And again, I know the Oscars are the end all be all, but just again, for us, because we've loved him since like the first episode of our pod. He's like one of the first things we ever talked about. Was like, how do we get him?
So great. He's such
we had him read a Star Wars
nominated.
script.
Just like it's amazing.
We had him read a script to try and get him cast in The Last Jedi. He read as like, I think the Emperor. I wrote him a full thing for it. It was awesome.
He's a special human being. I'm so glad he became an actor. I'm so glad that he is now acting again. An Oscar isn't the end all be all for some, but I think it could be for others. It just depends why you got in this business and what type of personality you are. Depends on how much you care. Clearly, Marlon Brando was not a beta personality because he sent a Native American to accept his award.
Or George C. Scott, right? He's
George C.
I'm
Scott.
not going up to this. Yeah,
he gives zero shits. He said, "Look, they're making millions of dollars off of us." And by the way, I subscribe to his philosophy. That's why I never go to award shows and don't submit myself for any awards ever. Someone out there's going, "You never win one." Well, I won some Nickelodeon surfboard awards.
Yeah, those are the coolest ones.
Those are the coolest ones.
It's a surfboard. It's all.
It didn't even work. I took one out. It didn't even work in the water. So they were the worst awards ever. But yeah, man, some people, it's very important. But George C. Scott said they're making millions off us because we're a part of their television show. It's not an award show. It's a television show, and they're trying to make money off us, and none of us should go. And nobody agreed with him. He felt it was very divisive. He felt the union should be a brotherhood, and things like this separated actors that were supposed to be brothers. The Cassavetes group back in the 70s, Peter Falk and all them, they also, most of them subscribed to that philosophy as well. I worked with Peter. He then instilled that philosophy onto me, and I now try to instill it on all my actor friends. Like, don't worry about that. Make this art for you. If people connect to it, cool. If they don't, cool. Your job stops once they say cut. Like, you are no longer in control of what happens. So just focus on those words between action and cut. Because that's how I was taught.
We before we let you go here, we got to normally when I'm home, you'd see behind me a wall of Star Wars action figures. We got to talk Star Wars real quick. Before we let you go, you were in Rebels, played one of the key characters, Kane, which all those characters are coming in live action. They're starting.
They for sure are, yeah.
Especially Ahsoka this next series. Ezra apparently, you're gonna see Sabine,
yeah, man. You know, I would never do it, and that's not me trying to be coy. And then all of a sudden, 3 months from now, they're like, "Oh, he tricked us." I will never play Kanan Jarrus again. I don't want to be in a Star Wars movie. I made my contribution to that world. I loved the way that story ended, and it ended. Just because people don't want it to end, that doesn't mean it didn't. I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was a force. I thought
good pun.
It was a forced moment, even in the last Jedi.
Yeah, Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker. I didn't want to do it. I said, how is he that powerful that his presence would be there? Like he was never even really a master. And they were like, no. I was like, no. And then Filoni called. And he's like, come on, Freddie, just go in and do it. Don't make me give you a speech as to why. I'm just like, all right. So I did it for Dave because Dave was the reason I did the show. Disney didn't want me for that. Disney had their own guy. It was Will Friedle who they wanted to do it. And you know, Filoni didn't care. I went in and read. I remember Seth Green told me this. He goes, hey man, my friend just called me to ask what you're like to work with. And I told him, you're amazing. I love you. Goodbye. It was a voice message. And I didn't even know he was talking about Dave. And then it was like a year into the show when I found out that it was Seth, who's like, yeah, he's great. You'll love him. And Dave hired me. But I remember when I went in an audition for that, they didn't even say it was Star Wars. And I didn't even want to go. I'm reading the script. I'm like, man, this is like a crappy Star Wars knockoff, man. What is this? But it was a fake script. And so I went in and read, and then, you know, Disney has their group of actors, and they're entitled to like who they like. They don't have to like me. And they wanted their guy. And then I came in because Dave insisted, and they still weren't a fan. And then all of a sudden I did a bunch of press for them and they liked me. And then I asked for them to kill me at the end of season 2. I wanted Darth Maul to kill me. And Dave was like, yeah, I pitched that to Disney. They went, no. Like, it's not down. Like, all right, well, at least they like me a little bit now. But they were right, because they control salary in that circle, right? And after the second season, I was like, hey, man, like, you guys have to pay us. This isn't about the honor of Star Wars. There's like great here, and you guys have to pay us. And I want everyone to be paid the same. I'm big on that. Like, it's an equal contribution on, especially on something like that. People weren't watching the Kanan Jarrus show. So they were pissed because I didn't just want to raise for me. And I made sure, and I don't care bragging about this. It ain't bragging if you've done it. So I made sure everybody got paid much, much better. Not as much as I would have liked them to get paid, but much, much better than normal. And they got it for 3 years after that first year of their joke salary that they tried to get away with by literally saying it's the honor of working for Star Wars. I'm like, yeah, all right. But watch Oscar Isaac answer the same. Interview Oscar Isaac and say, you can do anything in the Star Wars universe? And he's going to answer it exactly the same way I did. I've seen him in interviews. He's like, nah, I'm good. I don't need that honor anymore.
The honor, that's that.
Yeah, it's never show business when they don't have enough money to pay you. Then it's like, oh, it's for the art, right? And you're like, oh, it's weird.
It's a good experience if you intern with us. We don't need to pay you. It's all about exposure.
Exposure. Yeah, that's the art of job recruiting online, right? We're giving you exposure. Yeah. Just for all those people out there, my YouTube channel, I do a lot of games and nerd stuff out there. Not only did every person I hire to build my minis and to do all this, not only are they all credited and featured and getting exposure, but I paid every one of those sons of bitches because they deserve it. And if you're not getting paid for your work and someone's saying it's exposure, tell them to suck it and find someone else. You do not work for people for free. That is horse shit. You deserve better for your work. There's a lot of 3D modelers out there right now going, yes, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. And yes, I'm talking to you.
Okay, we heard the rumor was that you paid them with the honor of Freddie Prinze and Scooby Snacks. So
yeah, and they got the stuffed animal. All right.
Yes,
and that was vintage. It was 20 years old. Come on, man.
I gave him 3 volumes of My Hero Academia, and it was just like, yeah, that's a good fair exchange.
Exactly.
One last thing. Just what do you think it is about Dave Filoni that makes him get Star Wars seemingly more than almost anyone? Because like everything he touches seems to just kind of get the spirit more than anything else.
And actually, I would add on top too, because we were gonna ask about this too, but I don't want you to have to do the rant again. Then everyone loves your fucking Star Wars rant. But like for him, I feel like he gets it on the level of like there are people who watch it who grew up with it, but there's people who are growing up with it as well. And it seems so like
Balancing.
I don't know. It's from our end, like he gets it as much as anyone does.
Yeah, it's tricky. He won't admit this, but Dave's not allowed to be a fan of Star Wars. He would probably refute that with, I think I have to be one of the biggest fans, but I would disagree with him till the day I die. He has to look at Star Wars from every single perspective. He can't look at it the way a fan does, or every movie would feel like the video games. Yeah. And those video games, I know they're cool, you guys, but they broke every single rule that George built and established. And you can say, well, other people did too. Okay, fine. Sweet argument. And they did. But Dave learned directly from George, right? And he treats that the way Christians treat the Bible. And he really exists within that world. There's not a single shot in Star Wars Rebels that didn't exist in the original trilogy of Star Wars movies. Every shot from our show will remind you of a shot that you saw in a movie you saw 30, 40, however many years ago in the 70s, or maybe you saw it yesterday. But you'll start to recognize those things. That's the discipline. He doesn't even get creative with animation where you can literally do a close-up on someone, go around, go inside their ear, go out their nose, come up, have a little ghost pop up. He can kill the ghost with all this stuff you can do, and he won't exist outside of shots from the freaking 70s and 80s. Like that's the discipline. True. So like when you watch even like Clone Wars, which I had nothing to do with, the best lightsaber fight scene in the history of Star Wars is Darth Maul versus Pre Vizsla. And no other fight scene is even a close second. There's not even I've never seen another story where I was like, wow, man, that was almost as good as the cartoon. Never. Because they're not even close, man. In the last 3, some of those lightsaber fights were takes that should have never made the film. Because there you see fake swings. And there, you know what I mean? Like against all those bad guys with the red ones. Like, I'm just like, wow, man, that was the best take they had. Like, I know guys from my old karate class who could do better than that. So he's a special guy. He's a wonderful storyteller. It's funny. We went up there one Christmas to the ranch because no one was there. No one was going to be there. And we would have the whole Lucas Ranch to ourselves, basically. And my kids got to watch not only whatever the new Star Wars movie was, I think it was the first of the new ones. And they got to watch like the first 3 episodes of Rebels before they even came out on the giant screen there at the Lucas Ranch, right? And Dave and I both love telling stories. And Dave came up to visit us because he worked up there and drew an Ahsoka for my daughter that she still has to this day.
That's awesome.
And he started telling me these like stories about Mandalore, right? And he was like, we didn't know on Clone Wars because we finished it so far before it came out that people were going to connect to that Mandalorian story the way they did. And so we just never had time to get back into it. And he started like telling me this story that he wished he could have told about, this Mandalorian and how, Death Watch and would be involved and all this stuff. And I'm like, man, that's a sick story, dude. I hope you get to tell that one day. And then like 4 or 5 years later, I start seeing trailers for the Mandalorian. I'm looking at, I'm like, dude, this is a lot. And then I see the director and EP is Favreau, who was the voice of Pre Vizsla from the Clone Wars. And I was like, oh my God, it's his Mandalorian story that he's wanted to tell forever. And I remember him breaking it down. And there was one scene he told me that I obviously can't repeat, that if he gets to a season where that scene gets to happen, is going to be the most powerful scene in like the Star Wars universe. I remember him hitting me with it, and he's telling me the dialogue, not good actors, Dave. Dave's not a good actor. Dave's a great director and storyteller. Dave doesn't have a great voice. Dave's voice is like this.
Yeah.
So the protagonist voice sounds like this, and I'm floored. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. So I really hope he gets to tell it his way. I think he's the best storyteller Disney has in that world. I think they finally recognize it too. I don't know if people know this. Maybe I'm not allowed to say this, but I don't care anymore. He directed that scene in Rogue One where, well, basically the whole end of the movie where Vader comes through and is like, and you see basically what's going to happen in A New Hope. He directed all that. He also recast Darth Vader. They're going to get so mad I said this. I love not giving a shit about it, any of this nonsense anymore. So they had cast another actor and they asked Dave to watch the movie to see what he thinks. And I remember him going, well, you got some of the buttons wrong, some of the lighting wrong. And why'd you hire an Italian? And they go, what do you mean? And they go, how'd you know we hired an Italian? He goes, well, Darth Vader doesn't talk with his hands, but this one clearly does.
Oh, no way.
And so they legit, I don't think this story's, they're going to get so mad. This is why Disney probably doesn't like me, right? So this is my revenge. So yeah, man. So he recast Vader with someone who would only move, because Vader only moves when it's necessary. That's what makes him such a frightening menace, because he is Jason Voorhees. He is Freddy Krueger. He is Pepe Le Pew. He's going to catch you no matter how fast you run, and he moves with purpose. And that's why you see such a perfect and flawless Vader come through there. That's also why the first ship, when they break the shield, that's why the first ship through is the friggin' Ghost from Rebels, if you rewatch it.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
because
he
was like, nah, man, I'm getting my stuff in if I'm saving your movie. So yeah, he's the best, man. I think he's great.
Something he did that's cool, I think you'd appreciate too, is the fact that like he brought in voice actors to come and do stuff in Mandalorian. Like he had Matt Lantern in like an episode of the Mandalorian, just giving them some shine.
Disney still did them dirty, man, real dirty at the premiere. And I thought this was disgusting. They didn't allow the actors that voiced characters to be photographed with the live action actors. They separated them and made it a much lesser thing. And I just think that's gross and disgusting.
Yeah.
Again, I think, you know, if that robot doesn't have a voice, you're in a lot of trouble. If that alien doesn't have a voice, you're in a lot of trouble. Because then it's a silent film. And those were cool, but I don't know how that's going to play in the Star Wars universe. So I feel they should have treated those actors equally and had them all out there and showcased all of their talents, but they didn't. They felt very, very differently, and always have with that. So
that and stunt coordinators. That's our our big give them some
I
respect.
love stunt coordinators, man.
Yeah, that's it. We'll wrap now, but it is crazy.
Okay, if we have to wrap, we have to wrap. No, otherwise, I'll tell you.
But it's crazy that you heard that from
Filoni,
because that's our thing, and you had this long rant. If you haven't heard the rant, we're not going to go look up Freddie Prinze rant about Star Wars. But we've said too, it's not everything's for you, but at the same time, he made this show where there's little kids wearing one of the characters in their pajamas every day, Baby Yoda. But then it's also a show that has like odes to like Sergio Leone westerns and Kurosawa. And it's the most insane combo.
Which is John Ford, which is the Japanese film. Like they all have inspired each other. I know you got to go, and you can cut me off if you want. I'll just tell the story to whoever.
No, go for it.
But you know, I've always been drawn to like that stunt world. I love those guys so much. My stuntman on I Know You Did was Troy Robinson, whose dad was Dar Robinson, who did the famous static line jump off the CN Tower back in the 70s. I can't remember the name of the movie, but just famous. And we were both kind of legacy kids because my dad was famous in his world, his dad famous in his. And so we bonded. And then Troy got super buff and I'm super not buff. And so he couldn't be my stuntman anymore. But anyway, on I Know You Did last summer, the stunt coordinator was this dude named Freddie Heiss. And Freddie was like the horse guy, right? Like every Western you saw, him and his team were the guys and girls doing all the sick horse stuff from every Western you've seen. He's the man, dude. I love Freddie Heiss. I hope he's still alive, dude. He's such a cool dude. So he was our stunt coordinator and we were always safe with him. And there's that scene at the end of I Know You Did last summer. And I tell the story in greater detail on my podcast. It's our first episode. And it's late at night. We're in the middle of the Atlantic, not the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, off the coast of North Carolina in the Atlantic Ocean. And they goes, we need you to be in the dinghy for that chase scene. And I look at the dinghy and it's just a little wooden boat with an outboard motor, a legit, not a speedboat, like they're using to make the water look rough and all that. And then they drive off and they action and you go, I'm like, all right, that seems a little sketchy. I'm going to be chasing the boat. And I go, did Freddie approve this? And they go, oh, yeah. Freddie approved. I go, all right, well, if Freddie approved it, we're good. So I get in the dinghy. I don't even know how to start it up. Look, I figure it's just a lawnmower, right? So it's got it going. And they go, agitate the water, which is like the entertainment industry for like make the water choppy, and the big agitation, and the speedboats go by and the drive out so stupid and they take themselves so seriously. And you go, okay, there's no sound. They go, rolling and action. Win, your boy Freddie. Dun, dun, dun. I'm driving this dinghy, dude, like a G. You'd have thought I grew up on a dinghy. Cruising in, the water's rough, bah, 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 and it's a little like, I'm like, that it's choppy, but we're going. And then I get to the wake of the fishing boat that Jennifer Love Hewitt's character is being pursued on by the killer. And so I hit the wake, and the boat goes up and to the side and dumps me out, lands belly down, and I feel the engine go right over my head. Not the engine, but I feel the disturbed water from the propeller going over my head. I pop out of the water and I'm hot, dude. I'm seeing red. I want Freddie Heiss's ass and I want it now. And the speedboats are cruising up. They can't come up too fast, you know, and I'm like swimming for the barge that they're shooting. Like, I'm gonna kill him. And they finally get to me and they're like, come on, let us get you out. And they pull me out of the water. I'm soaked. I'm pissed. They drive me back. And Louis DiGiamo, and I'm terrible with names, so you know it's real if I remember the guy's name. He was the first AD, and I love Louis, okay? He was the first AD on great movies like The Freshman with Matthew Broderick and Marlon Brando, and he would tell me these wonderful stories, and he always shot me straight. He's there. A couple crew guys. Ryan was staying late because he wanted to watch it. And I come off the boat, get on the dock. Where's Freddie? What the fuck is Freddie? I'm ready to kill this guy. And Louis comes up to me and he's like, Freddie, calm down, calm down. I'm like, screw that. You see what happened? I could have died. He goes, they sent him home. I go, what? They go, they sent him home. It was 12 hours. They didn't want to pay him overtime. They lied to you, Freddie. I'm so sorry.
Holy
and I go, what? The director starts walking over. Now, the director did not want me in this movie, okay? He wanted Jeremy Sisto, who at the time, I agree, was a far superior actor, but he looked like the killer. So he didn't have the sweet boy face that I had. They wanted to take a chance on me, so I got it. Jeremy's had a wonderful career. He doesn't miss not doing I Know What You Did. So the director's coming up. I already have issues with him, man. He's like just grinded me every single day on this production, just talking shit. Everything I have not to punch him out. Philippi would always calm me down a bit. Relax. You auditioned 5 times for this. You earned it. It's your role. Don't listen to him. Do your thing. He was really good to me. We aren't friends, but he was super professional with me always. So he comes up and I'm waiting for this apology, right? And it better be an apology for the whole movie. And he goes, damn it, we have to do it again. And I literally, like, all the blood in my body just went right into my forehead. And I'm like, I'll kill you, man. And Louis and Ryan both were like, no. And they're like trying to pull me away. They get me into my trailer. And Eric Feig, the producer, comes in. Poor Eric, man. This is his first movie. And he's a good dude at heart, man. He really is. Like, my kids know his kids now. This is 20 years ago. I have no ill will, by the way, towards any of these. This is 20 years ago. My life turned out great. So he comes in the trailer and he's like, I'm so sorry, Freddie. I'm like, I quit. I'm going home. He goes, what? I go, I'm getting on a plane in the morning. I'm flying back to LA. Screw you guys. I almost died. I'm done. He goes, you can't do that. I go, okay, then I'll call SAG and I'll let them know what you guys did. So those are your choices. I'm going to call my union. You guys are going to get shut down, or I'm going home. What do you want me to do? And he goes, just please, Freddie, sleep on it. I go, oh, I'm going home right now. I'm going to sleep. And when I wake up, I'm getting on a plane. So I go home. Next morning, first call I have is from Eric. He comes over. I've had a night to sleep on it. He talks me off he goes, please, let's just finish this. Screw this director. I'm so sorry for what happened. And he's genuinely apologetic. They were in a horrible bind. What they did was illegal, unsafe, and unprofessional, but he's being accountable for it. And I don't like disappointing people. I want to finish something I start, right? So he talks me off the ledge and I go, all right, man, we had 2 weeks left. We were going to NorCal where they shot Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. We were going to be shooting like in the same beaches that he shot on. And I'm a horror addict. So I was just like, horror. Careful. An addict of horror films, not what it sounded like. And so I finished the movie, and that was probably the reason why I didn't go. Like, I went to the premiere, but right after the premiere was over, I went to Jerry's Deli Bowling Alley, and I didn't even see the movie. Like, I walked the red carpet, got in my car, went bowling with my friends, and went home. But yeah, man, it was crazy. Like, it was crazy.
That's
but
insane.
Freddie and I, we would still be friends today if we had stayed in touch. I respected him so much. He was on the second movie too. Next time I'm on, I'll tell you stories from the second one that were pretty good.
Hell yeah.
That was almost the shortest career of all time.
Bro,
Yeah, seriously.
I mean, like I said, I won't make it sound like it hit my head, but it damn near hit my head. Like I was scared, pissed, embarrassed, and 21 years old. Like full of testosterone, of which I have none now. And
that was it.
No gray hair. Oh yeah, that was it. All the gray hair came right after that scene, I'm sure. But yeah, man, it was wild. It was a wild shoot. But Ryan and Sarah really got me through it. Those two. And Muse, the guy who played the killer, oddly enough, was like the nicest out of everybody. It was so he's like, over, you're coming to my ranch in Tennessee. I got water rights. That's what he would always say. He's like, I got water rights. It's beautiful. We'll relax, and this will just be an old memory. I'll be like, all right, Muse, we'll get it, dude. We'll get it. But yeah, man, those three people really pulled me through. And then the second one had a different director. His name was Danny Cannon. He came from like directing Bjork videos and English like crazy action videos, and I would run through a friggin' wall for him, dude. He was such a psychopath, awesome, just cool ass guy. They gave him less money, less time, and he still kicked ass. I just love that dude. But yeah, man. So that was my stunt guy story. When you mentioned stunt guys, I had to
what a wild. We got to have you back, whether you're in New York. We do so like over this again.
For sure.
WWE Rivals. Check them out. YouTube channel, much more podcast, horror podcast dropping March 15th.
Yes, sir. Got that. It's called That Was Pretty Scary. My regular podcast is Wrestling with Freddie. My YouTube channel is called Geghead. That's like Egghead with a G. We're re-premiering. The pandemic shut us down. And then we had those like protests, which were really riots in LA. They broke into our studio and smashed all our crap or stole what they didn't think was valuable. And so we're re-debuting that this spring. So I'm getting ready to do that. And I think that's all I have.
Amazing. Well, this was one of my favorite things we've ever done. This was a blast.
Thanks, fellas. I appreciate you guys. I've had nothing but good experiences over here at Barstool, and I wasn't familiar with the brand at all because I don't know anything outside of like my world, right? It's very Vince McMahon in that regard. Like, so I don't know. And so some people are like, oh, that's cool. And then some people get mad. They're like, Barstool.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know why they get mad, and I don't really care.
People, I'll tell you this quick. People think we are this like absurd, like, I mean, you get some of it like this frat boy, like Instagram culture, which you get, but we are me, Ken Jack, our other coworker, Robbie Fox, who I believe you talked to. He does like he does wrestling stuff as well. Yeah. And then our boss, Dave Portnoy, who's people always like, oh, it's Dave. Dave is taking us. Mm-hmm. Yes, so Dave is taking.
Get mad at him, and that frat boy. I'm like, how do you want to? I remember this girl that I was talking to, a friend of mine. She was like, well, I don't think they do, and I was like, what are you talking? I'm like, why'd you go to Magic Mike?
We
I like why you were talking why did to you go why do you think Channing Tatum's the greatest actor in the world? Because he's
a collection of we're a collection of dweebs. Dave is taking us in 2 weeks to Disney World to go see Galaxy's Edge Star Wars. All of us. We're just going for one day. We're going, it's just us, we're gonna nerd out and be Star Wars fans and then ride the rides. That's like people are like, we're dweebs.
I think you guys are great. I don't believe in the term toxic masculinity. There's just assholes and there's nice people, but guys are guys, and we're always going to think the thoughts that we think. And you girls are always going to think the thoughts you think. We tried to Stepford you for generations. It didn't work. So don't try to Stepford us. It won't work. That's where we are the same. Our trying to change you will never work on either side. So let everyone be cool, be a Pisces like your boy, Uncle Freddie, and chill out.
Same here.
Some Barstool, man.
I'm Pisces too.
See, we know how it is.
It's actually my birthday is March 15th, so there we go.
Is it really?
Yeah.
March 8th, March 15th. What about you? What about you?
I'm April 27th. I'm a Taurus.
You're close though. You're not that far off. Yeah.
Taurus, aren't you Aries? Or no, you're just at the end of Aries, beginning of Taurus.
Yes, exactly. Right. Yeah, right about that.
Well, thank you so much.
Bulls and fish, man. Bulls and fish. Take it
anytime. We'll do this anytime.
Cool. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. When you're at your best, you can do great things, but sometimes life gets you bogged down and you may feel overwhelmed or like you're not showing up the way that you want to. Working with a therapist can help you get closer to the best version of you. because when you feel empowered, you're more prepared to take on everything that life throws at you. We talk about therapy all the time in this podcast, obviously super important. I used BetterHelp over the course of the pandemic when I couldn't get to my regular therapist. It was really helpful, really easy for more reasons than one. If you're thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option. It's convenient, flexible, affordable, and entirely online. Just fill out a brief questionnaire and get matched up with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. If you want to live a more empowered life, therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/lights and get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lights.
All right. Thank you to, so and I'll give the context now for Chris and Gooch. They, after Scooby-Doo, they received a care package. Obviously, him and his wife, Sarah Michelle Gellar, they were in the movie together. He told the funny reason why he first did Scooby-Doo. He's like, I didn't want to be away from my girlfriend for a while.
In Australia.
So I was like, can I just play Fred? It's a great story. But they got he at the time, if you had a very successful movie, especially at that time in like cinema, you would get, he was like, we said $1 million bonuses. And he's like, fuck, holy shit, we're going to get these big ones. And they got a Scooby-Doo gift bag, and they got like Scooby snacks, like some other random
one box of Scooby snacks to share.
So, yeah, they got one for each for just the two of them.
Unreal.
Yeah, which reminds me of Terrence Stamp took a smaller pay on Phantom Menace to play Chancellor Valorum, and he was promised like an elaborate gift from George Lucas, and George Lucas gave him a pencil.
No way.
What a baller,
you can.
I mean, how much pay do you need? Chancellor Valorum had like 10 speaking lines. Like, yeah, I don't think that was exactly a premier part.
He was also told he was going to meet Natalie Portman, and he said, he's like, I was going to meet Natalie Portman, great young actress, and he like showed up and she wasn't there.
He's talking to Keira Knightley.
You're in the middle.
He's talking to Keira Knightley in the double or body double or whatever.
Oh my god. All right, Cocaine Bear. After a 500-pound black bear consumes a significant amount of cocaine and embarks on a drug-fueled rampage, an eccentric gathering of cops, criminals, tourists, and teenagers assemble in a Georgia forest.
Remember that.
Loosely based on Cocaine Bear,
Georgia
a real
legend.
bear who consumed cocaine, however, died. The bear died. The bear did not go on a crazy rampage, but this is again, it's loosely based on. It's a comedy horror film. A ton of people involved: Kerry Russell, O'Shea Jackson Jr., Alden Ehrenreich, Brooklyn Prince from the Florida Project, Isaiah Whitlock Jr., who's, by the way, just all that, like, just fucking legend.
Mm-hmm.
Just so many legendary roles. Margot Martindale and Ray Liotta in his final role. It's one of his final. Didn't he do another movie as well around this time? But I know it's one of his final movies, especially in terms of mainstream. Final role, like wearing some cool like makeup.
Dude, I just watched Blackbird last week. By the way, he was really fucking phenomenal in that.
Mm-hmm.
This movie is I'm trying to like what would you compare it to? In terms of like what it's trying to do, it's not.
I'll call it a mix between 21 Jump Street and Velocipaster. You know what I mean?
Right. That's okay. So the second one is more what I'm going for here. It is definitely a movie. It's a Snakes on a Plane, like that idea. Now I will say way better than Snakes on a Plane. I like it significantly better than Snakes on a Plane. But that same idea of like. It's trying to do something like the Sharknado-ish thing, but again, a significantly better movie, well made. I really like Cocaine Bear. I think there's some parts of Cocaine Bear that don't work for me, that are just almost like too much like, I guess, ham fist in terms of trying to like all right, fucking. It's time. It's time for you to make this a memorable moment that you're going to tweet about and talk about. Like it tried a little too hard in spots, but man, did I fucking have a great time with this movie. This is fun. It is unapologetic in what it is, and it's just well made in that sense. A lot of the problem with a movie like this, and you actually talked about this. Another YouTuber, Dan Merle, talked about this. He said fucking Snakes on a Plane. He said kind of the same thing that I let go is that this. like something like a Snakes on a Plane tries too hard in mixing the serious, where you're like, all right, like we see you trying. Like we can see you behind there, like making this happen. Where this one, I don't think does it. I think again, there's some spots where maybe it's trying too hard to make you laugh, but man, it's funny. It's a good time. It's fun. This is like this type of thing is great. It's. I go to the movies for the avatars of the world, but also for shit like this. This is just a good fucking time. Just a great time in the theater.
I'm so happy they didn't put this on streaming.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because this is a see with a crowd movie. Like, you need to see it with a crowd. Its enjoyment is benefited by seeing it with other people and laughing with other people.
Yeah.
This early 2021, this would have been definitely put on streaming, not even a question.
Mm-hmm.
They would have.
I didn't even see this as like a massive crowd. I saw this in a 20-person screening theater with like usually pretty dumpy critical types. They were howling at this movie, cracking up, screaming, going nuts at it, having fun. And like the second I left, I was like, this is my favorite time watching a movie in a while, and like one where I feel like anyone who can should go watch this with like a big ass group if you can.
They were throwing their pens.
Dude, the
and
guy right
pads
next
in
to me,
the
he
air.
whipped it out the second I got sat down. I was like, oh, fuck you. I know you got your process.
That's Richard Roper said that when I was on Dog Walk with him in Chicago. He said he's like I do not take notes. He goes, I'm not there to stare at my notepad. Like you're there to watch the movie stuff. But oh man, you go to a screening, it's
right
like,
next to me. Just you see the pen wiggling like crazy,
and my little notebooks, endless writing. It's like just watch the movie.
It's just too much.
How bad can your memory be?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're only there for like 90 minutes.
So true.
Write it down when you get out. It's the easiest thing in the world. But yeah, so I think this was probably the funniest movie I've seen in a theater in a long time. That bar is very low, to be fair. It's super low bar. There's not been a lot of good comedy movies. Pretty much all the great comedies have come out of TV, but still, I think it was the funniest I've seen in a very long time. Aaron Reich and O'Shea Jackson Jr. were an awesome duo, like a weirdly really awesome comedy duo out of nowhere, alongside Aaron Holiday, the little stash. What was their like Punky Brewster group called? She kept saying like it's a something.
The pop.
What was
the Pop Art Punksters.
Pop Art Punksters. That was it. Yeah. It was so fucking funny. I think that trio specifically, they killed me. The kids were really good. There's a lot of great gags, like the dog gag with Isaiah Whitlock Jr., the entire standoff on the roof of the gazebo, and like trying to describe what a gazebo was. It's like it's a civilian structure. Or, like I forget what he called it exactly, but it's so fucking funny. I agree with you. There's parts of it where definitely maybe could try a little bit too hard, and there's maybe like one too many characters. But like, I feel like they did a good job of spreading out what was the funnier ones and maybe isolating away with the ones that weren't as funny, like the fucking redhead dude from Game of Thrones. Like his part was like, yeah, we can move on from that. But I also saw people bitching about the CGI on the bear, but like, this isn't a movie that's driven even remotely by the CGI quality of the bear. And like, the reason I compared it to Velocipaster, it's like, that's why that's like that movie knew what it was in that sense, where it's like, here's the dumbest looking dude in a T-Rex costume or in a Velociraptor costume ever, and it's like the CGI of the bear doesn't really matter. Like that's not the point of this movie. It's goofy, it's funny. I had a great time with it. Awesome reunion of Americans characters, and Margot Martindale, Matthew Rhys, and Kerry Russell. Also, what's his name from Modern Family? Very funny in this. Fucking Jesse. Nah, damn it, the redhead dude from Modern Family. Jesse Tyler Ferguson, very funny in this. I had such a good time. I like earnestly, like, this is the type of comedy I feel like maybe I was tentative going into it because Elizabeth Banks, like her last movie was a Charlie's Angels, which wasn't very good at all. But this one, it felt more like a Lord and Miller produced this. It felt like a Lord and Miller delivery on a lot of comedy.
When I was just kind of like jotting notes down before we started here, I was looking at like her filmography, and I just was kind of shocked she's only done Pitch Perfect 2.
I thought she did more
Charlie's
too.
Angels. I was talking to someone about it, and they said it's a weird career, and I'm like, yeah, like the Cocaine Bear is awesome, but like, you know, it has Charlie's Angels, and I'm thinking in my head, like, there's a couple good ones, a couple bad ones. There's not. It's just those three. I don't know why. I thought in my head that she'd done more.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. I really enjoyed it though. I had such a fun time, and I would recommend it to anyone.
For a hot second there, she was like the face of female directors for some reason.
Yeah, it's
I don't
really
know why.
weird.
Like every question about like females in the industry, like they asked her every question, and that question would always blow up because she gave a memorable answer. I
She
don't know. Maybe that's
called
why.
out Spielberg.
Yeah, that was
How
weird.
dare you? Yeah. That fucking,
Yeah.
how
That was a little
fucking dare
bizarre.
you?
That Charlie's Angels movie was not
No,
very good.
not at all.
This was I agree with y'all. This was just a fun theater experience. It could have been funnier. I think it definitely could have been funnier. Could have written more jokes. I think they saw the Cocaine Bear as the main attraction, and I think that's why they had so many characters in it, because they wanted to see the Cocaine Bear interact with different settings, different people, see how those people would react. But I think they could have probably written in more jokes between those people. Not funny. I thought it was funny. That's my only real complaint. I mean, the kills, I didn't expect a lot of the kills, and the kills were awesome. Like we're spoiler sec. This is a spoiler movie. The Coke Bear.
The Cocaine Bear kills people. That's the spoiler.
The Cocaine Cubs. I thought that was a very funny touch. Like,
That was
very,
funny.
very funny. I also thought the little boy actor, I thought he was good. I
So
thought he was
funny.
very funny, which that could have gone like one way or the other. Like, you never know what to expect with a child actor, especially trying to deliver some comedy. But I thought that kid fucking knocked out of the water. Little Tommy Walker head ass. he was hilarious. And I also was like, the most horrifying part of the movie was when the little 11-year-olds are doing like just massive gator tails off a fucking knife. I was like, oh no, they're actually going to do it.
Just eats it. Oh man, I thought you would have one other big
They took
complaint
him
with this
straight to
movie.
the face. They were unaffected.
I thought you would have one other major complaint with this movie, and you think you know what it
What's
is
that?
about the Cocaine Bear being in Georgia.
I've gotten over it.
Because wait, is the Cocaine Bear a Kentucky legend or a Tennessee
He
legend?
lives in Kentucky now. Lives in Lexington.
But okay, but did it start in Tennessee?
I think it started in Tennessee.
Okay, so but the stuffed bears in Kentucky, is that erasure for your home state? Are you as a Kentucky guy?
I think it is.
Hmm.
People try to.
That's kind of fucked.
Kentucky's also always gotten the short end of the stick in media between Cocaine Bear and Hillbilly Elegy, which was a terrible movie made to make.
God awful movie.
God, I forgot about Hillbilly Elegy.
Elizabethtown.
You got
they purposely made Elizabethtown bad so people would hate Kentucky. Glory Road. They just made up all this stuff.
Elizabethtown was like the heat check for I think Orlando Bloom. That's like when his downfall started after that, because that was like 2006. Like that was after the Pirates, like first Pirates at least.
A bad movie.
Yeah. Wait, the first Pirates movie? Are you calling the first Pirates movie a bad movie?
No, I'm saying Elizabethtown.
Elizabethtown. I was about to say.
You
You have to walk the plank for that one.
Which is like, actually, I think On Stranger Tides is the best of the Pirates.
No, what was the one with
movies.
Javier Bardem? That was
Dead Men Tell No Tales.
Dead Men Tell No Tales.
Yeah, Dead Men Tell No Tales with Brandon Thwaites.
That one was bad.
Awful.
You want to talk about bad CGI? Cool.
They just gave up. Gore Verbinski. What a name.
Yeah.
Hey, Rango's coming on Netflix next week.
It is. That's true. I actually have to finish
That's a
my streaming block.
Chris, I know you mentioned, you kind of said what Gooch said too. It's like the Bears kind of whatever CGI at this point, which I it's like
I didn't come into this expecting it to look like Avatar.
Right. It's like, I don't know why, like, if you do, I don't know, maybe movies aren't for you. I don't know. Like,
I've warmed up to this movie a little bit because I just think for what it is, it checks off all the boxes. It is going to be enjoyed by a lot of people. My biggest gripe with it is I think Alden Ehrenreich and O'Shea Jackson are awesome. And man, I really like Alden Ehrenreich, and I hope he gets what's up.
When they first introduce him and he's just fucking pissed drunk at the bar eating pasta.
Dude, that was so funny. Does it come with chicken or something? No, man.
I lost it. Just sitting there eating pasta.
Those guys are great, and their interactions with the bear are great. I thought the whole thing with Kerry Russell and her kids, I could have just axed that. I thought that wasn't, I didn't need the movie to have heart. I didn't need it to have any anchor to weigh it down. And I thought Ray Liotta was funny as well. and everything else was fine. I thought the chase scene was really funny. That was the hardest laugh I had in the movie, was that chick falling off of the gurney and hitting her head on the pavement made me laugh. It's I don't know if I'd ever watch it again, but I'm just like, it's kind of just a shoulder shrug for me. Like, I don't even know really what to grade it, but I think it definitely achieves its goal.
I kind of like lean with you on that too. Is like I do think somehow it could have leaned even harder into what it is. Again, I really liked it, but like it could have definitely been a little even more unapologetic as to what it was. Now that can, I'm not saying that's always a good thing. It's not always a good thing.
It needed more Coke-based humor.
Yeah, that's true.
Around the bear. Like the only like Coke-based joke was like, oh, he's angry and wants more Coke. Like, have the bear like download Tinder at 3 a.m. Try to FaceTime his high school girlfriend at 4 a.m. Like, that'd be very.
He won't leave the blackjack table. Yeah, it just can't get it out.
He's
of
placing bets on Hawaii football.
Yeah, what would you? Well, look, one more game tonight. Kendrick, what would you
rate? I got
an
an 83.
I'm at 75, 70, 75. Yeah.
And I guess for our scale, I'll go 71.
Yeah, 82 for me. I really enjoyed it. I actually may like it more the second. This is a very fun movie, but that it should be nothing more than what it is. Like, it is. If anything, maybe lean into it more, but like, thumbs up. It's one of those movies that I feel like you watch that at the beginning of the year, and then there's other fun movies that come out later in the year that are supposed to be better, and you're like, well, fucking Cocaine Bear was better time than that. And you just kind of go, I don't know, this big mainstream thing wasn't quite as fun. Creed 3. 3? 4.
What 3? 3.
3? Why did I just think there was another Creed? I was like, wait a second. Creed 3 next week.
Yeah.
Very fucking excited for it.
Great movie. You guys are going to like it.
Very excited for Creed. Yeah, what would you, are the ratings out yet?
I think so, yeah.
Like, what's your ballpark, remind people, Ken Jack? Because you have seen.
I have it
91% approval.
Yeah, so I would have it between Creed 1, which I thought was incredible, and Creed 2. So like above Creed 2, but not quite as good as Creed 1, but fucking awesome. And it's a movie that I think is going to make all three of you dislike Ant-Man more because of how great Jonathan Majors is in it and how much better he is utilized as a villain.
Yeah, I believe
so
it.
It's
without seeing it, he is just seems
great in Creed. Fucking brick house, man. Jesus.
God. I know. I was like listening to him talk about his workout routine. He would work out like 2 times a day, 5 days a week. Like, how? Like a 35-year-old man. How the fuck you do that? He's just an insane man.
How do your body allow you just to sit down on the toilet and shit when you do that? Like the regular function.
No fucking clue. He's really good at it though.
Is Creed the best reboot franchise, by the way? I'm just thinking that in my head. Is it?
As far as like some franchises have rebooted and they'll have like one good entry and the other one suck. All three, I think it's been the most consistent.
21 Jump Street, I guess, would fall into that.
Yeah, true.
Oh yeah. No, see, I would give it that because Creed is more of a soft reboot. Where Planet of the Apes is a hard reboot.
That's fair. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, man, Planet of the Apes, those 3 movies just don't. They just don't get their they do. They're respected. They're liked by people who've seen them. They have good ratings. They still make good, but they're still not. It's not enough.
Not the zeitgeist.
It's just
really.
Yeah, it's not enough love. And they just finished filming the new. But is it I forget. Is it a reboot?
It's a continuation. No, it's a continuation from where they left off.
Oh, really? Oh.
I mean, if Tron 2 is good, then Tron is about to be up there too. Because Tron 1 is awesome. The original Tron, not that great.
No Daft Punk. I don't have high hope.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Tron. What are they calling it again? Tron Ares.
I don't
like they're calling it that. Goot. Before we go, you were able to watch, I think, all of the new Christoph Waltz.
Oh, the Consultant
show.
Yeah.
I watched it too. Yeah, we didn't watch all of it yet, but I've watched a bunch of it.
Cool mystery, cool satire on like if you like Severance, you would really enjoy this because it's, you know, like workplace satire, much darker than Severance, I'd say. Christoph Waltz, perfectly casted role for Christoph Waltz.
Workplace Nazi.
It has like one of those neat things where it's not that you're not interested in it. You're like, where am I gonna, like, where is the thing? Like, where am I gonna like? And then certain threads start to unravel a little bit, and you're like, what the fuck? And it really hooks you in. I would highly suggest it. I think it's a really fun show to watch through. I'm not done with it yet, but I think it's
the best compliment I can give is
cool.
I kept hitting next episode, and they set up a season 2, and I'm very interested in where they go with a season 2. Like I'd want to see what happens there.
Yeah.
That's what we talked about with Matt Shackman too. We were like, how do you write something like this, not knowing for sure if you're going to get a second season? Like, how do you close the loop without leaving it open, like while leaving it open for a potential season 2?
He's such a good actor. It's such a shame that he has to have downsizing on his filmography.
Or even to add on to that, was it Quantum of Solace? That movie wasn't bad because of him, but that was a bad one. Spectre, yeah, whichever one that was.
Spectre was really bad.
Yeah. That was a waste of a great film, or a great actor.
Spectre was a huge fucking letdown. Man, that was such a I'll tell you what, in terms of being disappointed in I don't know why I
can't believe I didn't think of it either. Yeah.
That was a
so
bummer.
fucking forgettable.
Because even a movie I don't love that we talked about, a lot of those movies we talked about, I didn't feel that way until a few days after, maybe. I vividly remember walking out of a theater, Bowtie Cinemas in Hoboken, and looking at my friend and going, "Man, that was a bummer. Like that was not that good. That was what the fuck." So
was it that one that had the Dave Bautista train fight? Because that was a great fight.
Yeah, that was one of the good parts.
Redeemable part of a otherwise pretty bad movie.
Yeah, that's one of those. That's one of those movies you look at and you just question how the world this didn't work. Like it's cast is back,
all the pieces.
Sam Mendes was back directing it. Like, how is this not great?
Yeah, that's one of Mendes' very few misses.
Yeah,
I didn't even know he did that one.
Yeah, that's funny we didn't mention that one. That one's kind of perfect because we said some disappointments that were like just bad movies, but there's something else where it's like not inherently bad. It's just like it's just mediocre. There's a large step down from like a great.
I will laugh every single goddamn time I see the name Barbara Broccoli. It's the funniest name that's ever existed. It is.
I mean, and her dad. Her dad's name is. It's funnier.
Wait, fuck. What's the dad's name again?
Cubby Broccoli. I believe it's
Albert
Cubby Broccoli.
Albert Broccoli. Albert Romolo Broccoli. Yeah, Cubby Brock. Oh my god, man.
Cubby, yeah. I was like, man, if I made that up, that's a weird thing to make up. But I was like, let me make sure. Yeah, Cubby Broccoli.
It's the funniest name. How do you not change your last name at some point? That's it's such a fucking funny name. That's like
you know what though?
Sorry, go ahead. What was that movie where Dave Franco had his last name was Pancake? I forgot what movie it was.
was that the one where with Vince Vaughn?
Yes. I just remember there's a scene where he's talking to him on the thing, and he's like, "Yeah, when we're trying to sell this, just don't say your." His name is Mike Pancake. That was it. It's like, whatever you do, don't say your last name. Just introduce yourself as Mike. And he's like, "But my last name is Pancake." Just don't say Mike Pancake.
You know what though? The Broccoli's better family than the Tolkien's. Yeah, they're transparent. Like even the other day, she's like, "We haven't even written the story yet. I don't know who the Bond is." Like I like that. That's good. Keep us honest.
Exactly. Mike Pancake. That's really funny. That's a really funny gag.
That's it. That's it for LCB. We'll do obviously second episode later on in the week, which you guys will definitely talk.
Then we got Disney next week.
We do have Disney next week. Ken Jack goes to.
Have you been to Florida? But I feel like that doesn't count.
Yeah, no. I mean, does this count? You're going right from Orlando into the sanctuary of Disney, and then
that's
leaving.
Fair. I feel like it doesn't then either because it's like I'm on the.
I forgot about. By the way, I was talking to someone who has family in Palm Springs. I forgot that they broke ground on the story living community in Palm Springs, where you're living in a Disney like storytelling world.
I was looking at something. I saw something on TikTok. There's apparently an experience you can do. It's a month long. You pay $100,000 and they fly you to every single Disney property in the world on a private plane, and you do all of them for like a couple of days or something. It's crazy. It feels like a cheap. for $100,000. I thought it would be so much more than that for a month-long Disney extravaganza with like VIP passes and shit.
Shanghai Disney is incredible, apparently, and Tokyo Disney is apparently like beyond. There's a thing called Disney Sea there. Or I think it's Disney Sea. It's like just one of the most not even like set aside at the theme park. It's just one of the cooler looking things you'll ever see built.
My girlfriend said that Singapore's Disney sucks ass. So if any of you are for some reason planning on taking a 28-hour flight to Singapore to go to their Disney World, don't. Apparently pretty bad.
Also, if you're listening and you can get us onto the Tron ride when we're there, please, I have no shame. Hook us up. It's not open yet.
Some guy who he plays fucking Gaston in like he's like, I got you guys.
Ken Jack gets to ride it, but Gaston must carry him onto the ride.
He's got me he's got me like not even like carrying like he's carrying like a fucking baby onto the ride.
Yeah, like
Jesus.
That's it. For Ken Jack, Chris, and Gooch, and Freddie Prinze Jr., our new friend. I don't know. I fucking forgot about us already. We'll talk to you next time.